Welcome, everybody. It's time for the Gamers Den. We got a packed house today. Kara's going to be jumping in just a second. But we do have a new visitor today. Well, two new visitors. Somebody who I talked to about doing music for the show. But first and foremost, they have to introduce themselves. Caleb, I'm not great at introductions, so I'm going to let you take it away and introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are and what you're about.
All right, sounds great. Hello, everyone. My name is Caleb Smith. I'm a co-owner and operator here at Contender Esports, which I'm at right now. We are an educational gaming facility. Throughout the week, we host various different workshops, teams, and camps. Our whole goal is to build character and life skills through productive video gaming. My dad was on an episode a few weeks ago and talked about how we work to remove the sitting all day, toxic behavior, antisocial, and we're also an event venue. So now that all restrictions are lifted and we're planning on hosting various different tournaments, have begun some, have others lined up for the year, want to have more and more to come and bring to the community. So really looking to grow esports in the Triangle area and partnering with all those that we can, to do that.
Awesome. All right,
Hey,
Zach.
like you just
I was going to let Zach go ahead. Zach
no, Zach, go ahead.
introduced the
Zach
show,
needs
so
to
we
go
got to
ahead.
let Zach, go ahead and let everybody know who you are.
Hey, how you doing? How you guys doing? First of all, thank you all for inviting me to the show. My name is Zach, aka Number 9, True Funk Soldier for the Napier Funk Army. I'm in the music game, been in the business for a minute. I'm constantly promoting, eating, sleeping, thinking, and vibing about peace, love, and harmony, around the world for everyone. Through music, we did a lot of things in the past, and now, the past is the past. It's time for the future. We got some stuff coming out. You can check all our sites and this and that. But, the main thing right now is because I'm in that grind. I'm in the funk wars. We got to get back out there and start jamming. So the band, great funk band, we come out of the same mold as, all the P-Funk heads. And we learned from all those guys, James Brown, Bootsy, and, Chaka Khan, Earth Wind. So we kind of pick up that mantle. We're running with it now for the next 50 years. It's going to be our time. It's what we do. Thanks for inviting me. And, I'm feeling the vibe.
Loving it. All right, Mark, you had the question.
Now, I'm just curious from Caleb, what got him into esports? Because I know that Toby has oftentimes talked about on this show how popular esports is, but I want to know your personal journey into esports.
Yeah, well, growing up, I was an athlete. I mean, I played lots of different sports. My main one was soccer. And obviously, I played video games as well. And all the athletes that played video games back then, it was, the FIFA, NBA 2K, Madden, the more so the sports games. We did play others, but those were the most popular. And now it's transitioned to, a Fortnite, Rocket League, Call of Duty, and not necessarily the sports games. But with my soccer, ended up going overseas to Germany and playing there for a few years. And I, just Gary Vee saw something about that he was getting a Twitch. And I was familiar with esports and knew what it was in the whole industry. But I knew people made money, but I was like, well, anybody can make money, if they're one of the best in the world at something. I wasn't aware that there was so many different leagues and competitions around so many different games, that there was collegiate esports. And I really loved the whole aspect of it. And then obviously it was something that I was truly passionate about getting into, which is why I got into it. And there is professional, there's some collegiate, but then as far as youth development goes, there really wasn't any of that. And so when I'm looking at it, I said, well, unless if I have a financial backer that wants to give me $20 million to start a pro org, I don't own a school either. The best bet is the youth development part of it. And for playing, obviously it wasn't easy, but it was a simple process where you start playing rec, and then you play club, and you get on the highest teams possible, you talk to scouts and get recruited. It all sounds pretty simple. But now in esports, if you want to go pro in that, play and hope that someone sees you and you get your name out there. And there wasn't really any pathway. And so what our goal is now, what I'm really passionate about is whatever someone's goal is their goal play for fun, then great, they could come and play for fun. We have a couple people that come here and say they want to be pros. We teach them, okay, you need to stream, you need to keep your social media channels up to date, you need to get your YouTube going. I constantly am talking to different professional and collegiate teams, and these professional teams, I'm not talking about Cloud9, Team Liquid. If you're good enough to play for one of those teams, then I have no issue, getting you on something like that. What we look at are the lower level teams, where the players may be getting paid as an only tournament entries and travel, and not necessarily salaries, or the ones that are making $300, $1,000 a month, the lower end, because ideally that's where they have to start. And within esports, most games you can go pro at 13 years old. So there's lots of different avenues that we have to take and lots of work to be done. And the most challenging part of it, which I do like, is that there isn't a clear pathway to this. So we're in the process of creating one.
Wow. Definitely fascinated in everything.
And we had Caleb Pablo on, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and he was shocked that you responded on Twitch. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you've also got an event space. So how are you managing to open up? Because I know that's something that even me and Zach have been talking about, how a lot of more places are opening up. So how are y'all managing that as we're coming out of this pandemic?
Well, we actually have a meeting tomorrow, a tournament organizer meetup, where we just invited a lot of people local. We pretty much said anyone and everyone who wants to come is welcome to. We personally invited the people that we had been talking to in the past. And starting in April, we hosted the first Super Smash Bros. Event in North Carolina in over a year, because they were pretty much just on shutdown and not running any events. And so we did that. It was a bi-weekly event. The tournament capped out, and then but before they lifted the restrictions, I remember talking on the Friday, the week before, our TL said, he was like, we need to change this to weekly. I felt bad. He said it got capped at 40 people, and capped at 32 people within 40 minutes. He said, and all these people that want to play can't. And then it actually happened, restrictions got lifted. So then we got to increase it to 64 participants now. And we even had to start closing at 6 p.m. We're starting at today on Thursdays, because there really is no space for anyone just to come in and play. And our Minecraft workshop that we do ends at 6. That's the only thing that we have going on now. And plus a semi-professional team comes in. So that's how we do that. Usually, it's like if you want to have a party here or anything like that, you have to call and book ahead of time. Space is starting to fill up now that all restrictions are lifted. People are coming out. We've had more birthday parties, scheduled this week than we've had total since opening. And as far as tournaments go, the local groups now, vaccinations are coming. People feel more comfortable getting out, and so for instance, the Raleigh Carball group, they potentially interested in having an event, fighting games. They said they're looking more towards a July timeline for when they would want to start. So it's going to get pretty hectic and pretty busy, and there will be a lot to manage. The main thing we do is take what we see as being the slower days and look to, make those more so event days, and really have to figure out a balance. But obviously that's a really good problem to have.
Oh yeah, that's a real good problem to have. And I know that, like I said, Jacoby, you talked about the whole nature of esports and how esports is going and blossoming, and it looks like that Caleb is part of that. So my question for you, and it's actually going to toss it to Zach as well, is do we have any funk music in esports, and can we get some funk music in esports? And that's one of the things that I think we need to have happening. So it's on you. Can we have that happen?
Oh, before we jump to that question, we just had somebody jump in, and I want to make sure he gets a chance to introduce himself, because I'm excited. I talked to Zach yesterday about another fellow New Yorker coming to town, and so I want to give him a chance to introduce himself. Jahan, it's on you.
Yes, my name is Jahan. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I want to make sure. So my name is Jahan Sheriff Krishla. I am the CEO of Play All Gaming. I pretty much do like consulting, TO, freelancing, you name it, anything in the esports market, any way I can be able to be some of help. I think that's been very helpful for me to kind of like be a jack of all trades, master of none. But it also helped me get into other areas and genres within the esports market to kind of like get a view and see of how everything operates.
All right. That's great. Like I said, Jahan is my man. That's my dude. That's like my brother from another mother. And Zach, I guess Martin just asked the question about funk. I'll let you take it away. Jahan, anybody else can jump in too. And Kara, I'm jealous that you're outside having fun.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Oh my goodness. So my face is frozen, but I can hear all of you. Yes, I'm outside. And I've been listening to everything. So it's good to see you, Jahan and Caleb. It's so good
You
to
too.
see you guys. You just have a weird angle of my face. But hello and greetings from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Hi, Kara.
Oh, and Zach, of course. Of course. The amazing Zach.
It's all good.
Oh my gosh. No, okay. So I also just want to say that Jatovi, you totally just failed your mission for me yesterday.
I know, but we did get a picture.
So I specifically said I needed a picture with my 3 men, which is you, Mark Lee, and Zach. So mission failed.
But we did get one picture. I'll get them to forward it to you.
Yeah, we'll see. I already have it. It's fine. Whatever. Next time.
She's giving you a whole lot of grief, Jacoby.
I know. Oh,
I mean, Zach, he would have like total just like special ops mission did that. So next time I'll just leave everything to Zach.
I'm bowing down to you, Kara. You can't see me, but bowing down to you.
Yes. Sames, you just can't see me.
But yeah, Zach, back to the funk question. What do you feel about funk music in video games?
I think it's funny because I was telling you a story yesterday. And how you doing, Jahani? Nice to meet you, brother.
All right.
I think that it's always kind of been teetering. I've heard elements. I've seen some stuff where some of the P-Funk stuff made it into stuff when they did Atomic Dog back then. Actually, about a minute and 30 seconds of a song I did called Fly on the Wall was put in the game in 99. It was a game from Japan, and it was a fighting type game, and they used about a minute and 30 seconds of one of my songs. I don't know how they even found it. They must have looked, through the archives, because back then it was CD Baby. There was no Facebook at the time.
Was it Third Strike?
MySpace. It couldn't, but probably my publishing company at the time, which was CSAC, they monitored it. So I got a check from them, right? And it was a check for like $30 or something. And it said, underneath it said the name of the video company that cut the check. So I managed to get in touch with them through email, and they said, yes, we found your song. We were looking through for this specific sound, because the song was called Fly on the Wall. And in the beginning, I had this kind of like fly sound, right? Without vocoders, just remind you back then, with none of that. So we had to actually physically make the sounds of a fly, right? And they liked it. And then they liked the little music that was behind it. And matter of fact, that song is still out. You can find it, on Spotify. And the beginning of it, I'm saying this weird thing about funky fly, super fly, be a fly in the wall. And they took that, put it in, and cut me a check. So it's always been there. It's just not. Right now, it's a lot of techno, because video games and the name techno equate with each other when it comes to music. So all of the music, say from Mario Brothers on up, there's always been that the techno sound, which is great. There's a lot of great techno musicians out there making money now. So kudos to you guys. But true funk, my brothers out there listening and sisters, it needs to be in everything.
Actually, Zach,
to answer your question, it needs to be in everything.
Somebody watching actually put up this. He was talking about how to add more funk music into esports, we need more royalty-free funk music. I know you have a catalog of music. What is your answer to getting more royalty-free funk music into the gaming world?
I tell you simply, and you and I had talked about this, and I don't want to tip it because you and I are working on the project. The key to it is make our own games. That's the key. Make our own games because they won't put us in by now. And you know, most of the P-Funkadelics are passed on transition. We got a few left, the Lakesides, the Cameos, the P-Funks, the Bootsies of the world. We got the young kids, you know, the Anderson Pops of the world coming in with their stuff and the Bruno Mars of the world. But yo, there's still plenty of funkheads out here that can actually make that music and incorporate our creation and our experience through life and make some incredible games. So that's what we have to do. That's the only way we can get ownership and royalties. I'm covered under BMI. So if somebody takes my music and puts it out there, BMI is going to cut me a check. But a lot of people don't understand the process of protecting your music, copyrighting your music. You know, you can copyright everything all you want, but if you don't have your own publishing company and we're published under Nappy Head Funk Army Records, you're going to lose out. So those three things, three-headed monster, make our own games, keep your publishing uptight, keep your copyrights uptight, and just trademark the name of anything that you have.
Well, I know the question was directed towards esports, and you said to create your own games. Now, because obviously the video game market is huge and of all ages. The esports market, though, are the people, you know, within that demographic, are they into funk music?
I would say yes, because I pitched a game to a guy from England that worked for one of the companies down here in North Carolina that I won't say. I pitched the game and he loved the game. I pitched the idea. He took it to his people, and the answer to that to me was, because I didn't work there, my idea wouldn't be accepted. And he came back to me and he was damn near in tears because I have an idea for a dope game. And he said, man, this is great. You know, and he worked here in North Carolina, and I can't give his name and I can't give the company he works for. Out of respect. But, you know, I pitched the game. I've been doing this for a minute. It's just a matter of getting in the door. A lot of the funk music that's out there right now, a lot of it is probably already in games overseas. We just don't hear it. And you would know this better than anyone, Caleb. You would know if you heard Bootsy or George Clinton. You know, it may be disguised as Snoop Dogg and Dre, but truth be told, it really comes from the mothership. You know what I'm saying? So the origin comes from that. So when you hear that heavy bass stuff in Grand Theft Auto, and you hear all that heavy bass and that West Coast hip hop stuff, all of that stuff comes from the funk. They just dressed it up and packaged it so it would the demographics from somebody that's playing the game at a younger age get it. Now, funk is universal. I have fans from 8 to 80. To answer your question, if people want to hear it, they'll hear it. They're getting it on TV. Silk Sonic Soul, that's the same thing. It's just wrapped in a different package. You know, sometime open the package and look in, boom, it's there. You know.
Hey, and Jahan, I'd love to hear from you about something I'm going to bring up and everything, which is that, you know, sometimes when a musical form comes out and it captures the nation's attention, we do see it starting being placed in sports in terms of advertising and even in terms of other things. I was actually watching one of the basketball games yesterday, and I don't remember which of the fast food franchises it was, but they had actually had one of the K-pop groups that was actually there and was promoting that particular brand of whatever the fast food was. And that's oftentimes,
I think that was McDonald's, because it was BTS.
I think it was.
Because they had I think like a 20-piece, the deal is like a 20-piece with like a medium fry and then a drink or something like that.
something like that. But
Yeah,
I was just wondering if you could speak to that, because I've seen where, musical forms that we sometimes don't even think about will take hold in this country. And that's what we've seen with K-pop and with some of the other kind of pop music that's coming out of the Asian community. And now it's getting ingrained into our commercial world. But I'd love to hear your thoughts about that.
Yeah. So first off, music. Oh man, So the funny thing is, I was hosting a tournament in April 2020 called Legacy. And my main thing is I wanted to do something completely different than what other fighting game tournaments were doing, right? So like some of them had their unique way of how they were doing stuff. Like so CEO had the ring, so they had like kind of a wrestling theme. And then Common was more like paying homage to the old school style of fighting games and giving you that raw modern feel, right? And then for me, Legacy was more like on an entertainment scale where it's like introducing a lot of different aspects that we're not really like used to. So I actually was coming up with the idea of doing an actual album for the tournament itself. And the whole point was to get people that I know in the music industry to be a part of this music album and sell it during the actual concert event, right? So because a lot of my friends, they've done producing for rap albums, R&B, they're known in the music industry, but they're not known in the video game industry. So I was going to use this album to give them like kind of like a stepping stool to kind of like get their foot into the video game market, to come with our concept. I gave them some concepts that were like, listen to this game. This is the reason why this soundtrack for this game is hot right now. So like I could name a few, like Third Strike, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike has some really good sounds, like all around rap, jazz, pop, you name it, especially with Capcom vs. K2. Those are the two games that really stood out to me music wise. Like it was amazing how great that music soundtrack was for those games, because it was completely different than what we're normally used to. So Zach, you should definitely check out those two games that I just mentioned so you can understand like it's there. It's literally there. Right. So
yeah, I'm going to tap my email down for you and just email me, so we can.
Oh yeah, of course. So yeah, the music industry, like with the gaming market, it's very lucrative when it comes to like creating soundtracks, especially if I believe a gentleman did I forgot his name, I'm so sorry right now. He did a collaboration with Street Fighter 5, I think for like one song, and it's like a DLC. I guarantee you he's getting royalties off of DLC alone. Like you download that one particular DLC and he's making a killing off of that, right? Like they've done a lot of promotional marketing, like Unikilo. They had Unikilo on Street Fighter 5. So like when you're like selecting your characters and you're done selecting your characters, then they have like this one like a 5-second ad on a loading screen and showing the actual clothing company on the games. So we are getting to that point where we're having advertising being displayed within the game itself. It's just not done as much, but I guess it's all about how it would fit, the company's profile, like, the clientele, like who's going to be, who they're trying to target. So it's a lot of like marketing decisions within the gaming industry that are doing this right now.
Yeah, and Jacoby, this is for both you and Caleb, I think would be able to answer this as well. It actually came to something that I've discovered, and I mentioned to you that I got in and heard a couple of esports conversations going on in Clubhouse and everything. And one of them, they were talking about something that I still don't understand quite what it is. So maybe you can explain it to me and to the layman and everything. But they were having a whole discussion about these things called NFTs, or non-fungible tokens and everything. And apparently a lot of people in the music space are using that, because they were talking about how even some of the big wrestlers, and I know we had a wrestler that was on the show not that long ago and everything, but they were talking about how some of these big name wrestlers and like basketball players like LeBron and others were using that kind of method of monetization. And I didn't quite understand what it was. So maybe the three of you, Jahan included, can explain it to folks like me that don't understand it. But apparently it's become a big deal in the entertainment, sports, art, esports, and gaming industry. So can y'all give a layman's kind of discussion of what this whole thing means?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess, Caleb, you can go ahead and take it away if you want to.
Yeah, well, NFTs is something I understand and really study. Clubhouse, not so much, but With NFT, so non-fungible token, it's essentially, collectibles, but in digital format and used through the blockchain platform. So for instance, people collect artwork. They may collect, let's say, Muhammad Ali's boxing gloves, or Cristiano Ronaldo, we'll say Pele, because, that's lots of Pele's, who soccer cleats. And, people, those have value because they're collectibles. And like the Mona Lisa is something that has value. Now anybody can, well, not anybody, but you can get a drawing of the Mona Lisa, but there's only one true individual Mona Lisa. It's like, yeah, if I want a drawing of a Mona Lisa, yeah, I'll pay you $100 for it. But if now I'm not going to pay you 10 million, which is cost way more than $10 million for the original one, but that's essentially how NFTs work. And since they're through blockchain, usually Ethereum is the cryptocurrency that's used to purchase them. And that was one of the main reasons Ethereum was rising so much, even while all the other cryptos were going down, was because you needed Ethereum in order to purchase NFTs, and people are creating them. So just know, baseball cards or basketball cards with cards of athletes, people come out with those, and those go on. And then pretty much anything can really be an NFT. It can be, like music, if you want to make music, or like if whoever Disney wanted to sell something from Star Wars with Yoda's do or do not, there is no try, which obviously that was a long time ago, but now that could be an NFT, like the whole voice and Elvis. Anybody can watch it at any time, but someone owns the exclusive rights to that original footage. And since it's all through a secured blockchain, there's no way anybody else can, or if you hack it, which is very challenging to do, no way anyone else can take that, own it. It's more so like if you have a pair of Muhammad Ali's boxing gloves, unless someone, breaks in and steals them, those are yours. Those are official. That's one of the very few out there. It's not like you can't just like I have plenty of pair of boxing gloves, but I can't, just go out and sell them. Like, oh yeah, pay me $5 million for these. But if they're the Muhammad Ali's, exclusive, signed, autograph, the whole certificate, and that's what gives it the credibility. And then even also, we're really moving into like a digital world where I know there's a meme I saw the other day. They said they had a picture of V-Bucks, and they said the only cryptocurrency not going down right now. And essentially it is a cryptocurrency. And, there's all this in-game purchases with every game, but like the most popular ones that parents understand, Minecraft, Fortnite, Roblox. And so in these, there's a game called Decentraland. And people play games like Club Penguin, RuneScape, those more online in type of just fantasy world games. Well, they now are selling land and artwork and other things. So you can, in a game, you can own land, and you have to purchase it. Usually with the crypto, the way it works is the game Decentraland, well, the currency is called Decentraland, and you have to buy that cryptocurrency. You think you use actual dollars to buy it, and you can buy yourself, land or whatever you want within that game. Now, the game does have to blow up in order for it to have some value. Now, because like RuneScape blew up and everyone was playing it, and, people spent a lot of money, in that game. Same thing with Warcraft and many others. So that's pretty much how the NFTs work. A lot of it still isn't understandable. I personally, well, I'm not big on buying, tangible collectibles, nor, digital collectibles. So it's not really something I get into, but I did, take the time to research and learn about it. It's because it was something, that I was pretty interested in.
If I'm hearing correctly, it almost sounds like sorry, I'm saying if I'm hearing correctly, it almost sounds like a print, like the print version of like artwork. Like you would have the original artwork, and then people would sell prints.
That's correct.
I mean, it all this stuff came from in-game apps and everything else that has happened in video games for eons. RPGs or role-playing games. In any role-playing game, you have to go to an item store to purchase something. That's essentially the idea. You create your own currency and you build off of it. So simply put, yeah, it's just somebody made their own made their own money. And hey, if you want some of my money, or if you want an in-game a particular skin or something that you consider to be rare, like the car that I'm driving here in Rocket League, that's all it is hey, I can sell that. Rocket League has been doing this whole trading system for years. It's one of the key pieces of Rocket League, and that's in-game apps, in-game purchases, cryptocurrency. You're paying with a particular amount of, or a style of credit that is only usable within the game. However, you can sell those credits for like real money. So I can trade with somebody. Hey, look, I want that skin that you have, or I want that car that you have because it's so cool. I want to drive it all the time. And you know what? I'll give you $20, or I can give you a particular amount of credits. So either in-game apps or cryptocurrency or whatever else. That's all it is people made their own money.
That's interesting. Hey, Jahan, one of the things I was curious about, your thoughts on this, but one, I want to know how you got into the whole video game space, as I know that you have that commonality with Zach being a New Yorker and everything, but I was wondering what got you into the video game. We may have talked about that the last time you were on, but I definitely wanted to hear more details about what got you into that. And then the other thing that I was curious to hear from everybody is I've heard the fact that they're saying that we may not have the Olympics going on, but apparently the Olympic video games are still going to go on, because I was actually just looking online and saw that those are actually going online like now. Well, for a lot of different sports, including those that, of course, are the basic standard ones like running events and basketball and things of that nature. But it looks like they've also got some other Olympic sports that'll be featured on some of these Olympic video games. But we're not even sure if the Olympics is going to happen, but they will happen, at least in the virtual space.
Man, like, I got into gaming because, like, honestly, I grew up in Harlem. I grew up in the area, just to kind of give you a prime example, where the Central Park Five, I don't know if you are familiar with the Central Park Five. 3 of the guys actually lived in my building. So just having that understanding of like how the area was, like, it was very, crazy, when it comes to like cops harassing people, Black folks. We had like this crack building that's been up for like 5-6 years, in the past, like that was never taken down, nothing. And it's just like, it was like one of those, just like, and it was crazy because that crack building was like kind of like a landmark in a sense, because we already knew what it was. We knew what was happening, the activity, us kids having to walk to school, passing that crack building, and just having an understanding about like what was going on in our surroundings. Like, we had to deal with a lot. Like, it was a lot to digest, because we didn't really, as young kids, we don't understand. We're processing. I'm trying to understand things, especially when it comes to parents where they were super overprotective over the kids. Like, don't be outside. Don't at this time. You got to go upstairs. We didn't understand that. We were like, oh, we want to have fun, but we didn't understand the dangers that were around us at the time. So for me, like, I was very shy, obviously, and I used to get beat up a lot. And then, my stepfather used to take me to this arcade because he loved to play lotto. So there was an arcade, and it had like 4 arcades. It wasn't that much. They just had like Pac-Man, some shooters here and there. And I was a big fan of like just when I got the Nintendo system, I was obviously a big fan of that. But then arcades kind of like really blew my mind because of the graphics, how far has gone in time, just during that time, like how great the entertainment value was for those games to be put on arcade. It was amazing. So I was like a Game Pro kid, subscribed, Nintendo Power, all that stuff. And they used to have like these different articles where like new games were coming out. So I was a big fighting game fan, obviously. And I used to go to the owner all the time, little kid with his book, like, oh, go get this, please get this. And they would get it. Like they were like, yeah, we'll get that for you. And I was appreciative of that, because that actually changed my life by them doing that. Like, they really were like listening to me. And they obviously made a smart decision, because now they were getting so much business because of those games, because fighting games is very popular with the, the Black community. I mean, it's without mention like how big Street Fighter 2 was and Mortal Kombat and all those other games. But then now that store was well known for fighting games. Like we had 4 fighting games back to back, and they were brand new. Everyone's playing, going to different machines. I was like the young kid. Most of the guys were grown. They were drinking 40s at the time. They used to be able to drink 40s inside and all that other stuff. But then also got violent on top of that as well. And it's a hard knock life, right? Like, guys used to fight each other about grabbing, stuff like that. So these are the things that, I grew up, like around. And, but video games honestly saved my life because there's, again, during that time, kids were end up missing. They were getting kidnapped, random shootings that were happening, kid ended up getting shot for no reason. A lot of beef rivalry, of course, gangs. So it just kind of like kept me away from that whole realm, like that was like my safe space, and, after that, like I ended up working at the arcade, started getting experience. I was like 13 years old when I started working. So everyone knew who I was. I was like the big shot because I was really good at fighting games. And then there was other arcades in other areas. So kind of like we had our little gang thing with video games. So we used to take the crew from my store and go over there and play them and have a good time. And those are the moments I cherish. And I took that and made that transition to going to Times Square because Times Square was the mecca of arcades. We're talking about everything everywhere, and we're talking about pimps, hookers, crooked cops, all that stuff. Like we live in the real life. You know what I'm talking about, the real Times Square, the Ed Koch era days, like I remember as a kid, it's so funny. Like I know how crooked Ed Koch was, but still like I can understand the essence of like what real grit is, like the real street York, what it feels like. I go to Times Square, man, I feel like what is this crap? They don't know nothing about what happened in the past. So it's just like, it was just like, for me, it was like a Candyland, like arcades everywhere. My mom used to take me down to the movie theaters. I remember when Fly came out, they had that one movie theater. Remember the one movie theater? And they had like the big giant Fly on top of it. That's how I remember it. That's like, those are memorable things for me as a kid.
Yes.
So I ended up working at Broad City, Laser Park, XS. Okay. I was pretty much working all the arcades. It just, that was just me. Like I love interacting with people, playing video games, and that's how it helped me develop to be an organizer, a tournament organizer in a sense. And I just didn't know about the actual tournament market because it was very underground, right? Like I didn't know about it. I was still young. I didn't know how to travel to, kind of go out of state. So it was very new to me. That's the reason why, like, you have these guys who coming from Chinatown. They used to go to tournaments all the time. They go to 8 on the break in New Jersey, and then they started traveling and all this other stuff. And then I kind of like got into the market really late, in a sense. I started like say 6-7 years ago, and the world has been my oyster. Like I've started my own team. I traveled. I'm volunteering. I got tournament organizing. My main dream was to work for Evo. That was like the biggest thing for me. I'd done data entry for 3 years. In 2019, I was a lead TO for Samurai Showdown, which was a big honor for me because they have a lot of faith in me in order to run that program. So like it's just like, I want everyone to get the experience, like if you're very passionate about what you do, go out and try to find a way to make it happen and be happy with that. Like I've having worked for a 9-to-5 job for like 6-7 years, and this has been the most happiest thing for me, like honestly, like I invested in myself to dab in this market and try to do what I can to help other people as well, So it's been a great experience, and like I try to give as much wisdom and give people opportunities if possible, and collaborate with people, and that's what it's all about, like just connecting the dots. That's what I'm all about, like just trying to help people have an understanding about the market, and that we all can be able to be a part of it, because it's very it's an open market, it's not like like someone who's like have complete control of the market and you can't get involved with it. Gaming is for everyone. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Like, no matter what your age is, as long as you're willing to be dedicated, and obviously there is some sacrifices, to be quite honest, but, you know, if you're willing to put in that time and energy into it, you know, it could work out in your favor.
Oh, Mark, you're on mute.
Because there was a little bit of echo there. Hey, Zach, did you do that whole arcade game thing even when you were doing your music? And were any of your musicians into that arcade games? Because as I've told you, Toby, several times before, I have not always been that big into video games, but I do remember when Pong came out and playing those early video games and all of that. And I definitely remember going to the arcades, even there in the rural North Carolina. I was just wondering whether you were into that arcade space even while you were doing your music, and whether you've seen some of like your own family get involved in the video game space as well.
Yeah, it's funny, bro. You mentioned the clown, the theater with the clown. You brought back some good memories, man. I kid you not. Yes, Times Square was the bomb. When that stuff started happening, I was at the end of my teenage years, so it really wasn't a thing for me. We were still transitioning from the pinball to Miss Pac-Man. Like, now we was the pinball wizards. They wrote songs about us. You know what I'm saying? But when Pong and all that first came out, none of us could afford to have that in our house. It was still an expensive Christmas toy, even if it was like only 20, 30, 40 bucks. That was an expensive toy. We didn't get toys like that until later. But when I knew gaming was going to be a permanent part of society is when the mall took out Charles' clothing store and put in all the games that this brother was talking about. One of the bigger malls, you know, they was like, listen, this is a big thing. You ain't selling no pants, you know. And we used to always go there for pants because they used to have the nice pants and everything. But they took them out and moved them way at the end and put this big thing in the middle of the mall. Like, and everybody within 2 weeks flocked to it. It was like, bang. You know, now my thing was Miss Pac-Man. I could roll with Miss Pac-Man. Me and her had a good relationship, you know. But yeah, and then once that happened, and then of course the gaming industry said, listen, Pandora's box is open. Then you saw the seeding games come in, you know, then you saw all the stuff that you could really get interactive with. And I'm telling you, it has completely, like Jahan said, changed society. Gaming found a niche. And I watched the documentary on Netflix. I advise everybody to watch that. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. Gaming found a niche for everybody. Didn't matter your age, didn't matter your race, didn't matter your color. We were all sitting there like a rainbow coalition, playing these games, loving each other, laughing, holding each other's place in line till we went and got some food, came back. Yo, thank you, yo. It did, like the brother said, it brought the world a nice, safe haven of peace, love, and harmony. And that's what the world is about. And yes, I stopped because after it got too complicated, I was like, I can't do this. Like when the football stuff first came out, I was good with that. But then it was just too many controls, you know, and I was getting my butt whipped. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to let the pros do this. I'm going to stick with this music thing. But it was a beautiful time. And I dug every minute of it. I still do. My one daughter is into that whole Minecraft thing, and she can go. I might have to tell her to look y'all up.
I love it how you talk, you know, how you and Jahan both have talks about how just gaming just kind of bridges gaps and it just brings people together no matter who you are. As I'm sitting here outside at Nation Kitchen in Cincinnati, I was telling the waiter about this show, and he's like, hey, are you guys talking about such and such game? And it's just kind of cute. He's just like so excited. He's like, what you doing? I'm like, yeah, I don't even know about video games, but they're amazing, and let me just hop on. And but it's just kind of cool how, you know, just everyone just has thoughts about games and like this pure joy. They just light up and they're like, oh yeah, I play this game.
No, that's real true, Kara, that just lights up people and all of that. Hey, Caleb, one of the things I was going to ask you is, do you have any of the old school games? And then I was going to ask everybody, do we even see arcades and all of that? Because, like I said, I remember the arcades even being at our local malls, and I don't see them as much. So I don't even know if they're around. But I was wondering, do you have any of those old school games at your spot, or is it more of the newer games? Or can somebody get there and find Miss Pac-Man or Tetris or some of those old school type games?
Well, before we jump to that real quick, I think Kara brought in a great point, which is, tying both what Jahan and what Zach were talking about. And she wrapped it up perfectly.
Yeah, she did.
Both Jahan talked about how video games, spoke to him and helped him. And Zach talked about how video games is something that there is no barrier, that everybody can play. And then Kara came in with the perfect, hey, even my waiter has memories of playing whatever game. And that's the beauty of what gaming is that everybody has a memory. Disney Plus has this show with Jeff Goldblum on there. And he does this, I think it's called The World According to Jeff. I cannot remember the exact name of it. It's a great show, and he does some beautiful things. And he did a show on ice cream and how ice cream, when people eat ice cream, they get memories of, themselves growing up, of when they first, tasted that ice cream, and at grandma's house and at my mom's, we walked to the ice cream truck, and every time you hear the ice cream truck jingle, it brings back memories and makes you want to remember, and that's that nostalgia, that euphoric feeling that you've enjoyed when you first tasted ice cream. And that's something that only video games has been able to capture. Because we can all remember how, Zach, you talked about you get down with Miss Pac-Man.
I still got the writ. I got the skills.
Those are those things that take you back.
Yeah.
John talks about fighting games and, Street Fighter, Samurai Showdown, and all these other fighting games that take him back to that feeling. And Carol was talking to the waiter, and that's the thing. That's that feeling that wait. Hey, what game are you guys talking about? You played this, you played that. It's that thing within us. And I think that's the thing about video games and gaming that draw people to, places like Contender, or, the tournament stuff that Jahan does, or the tournament stuff that I'll do. It's just, that's the beauty of video games that I think parents that aren't in the gaming world don't understand and don't see. And I think that's that barrier again. That's one of those parent and child barriers that, I think working on and knocking down is great. Same thing with, how parents just see, oh, well, it's just a violent video game. Well, no, that kid is seeing something in that game that you're not seeing. Like, I'm sure, Jahan, when you were growing up, I'm sure your parents told you that's a fighting game. Or somebody told you that's a fight game. That's just violent. That's just violent. They're just beating on each other. Something like that.
Honestly, no.
Nobody told you.
My mother was more like, you play that damn thing too much, you ain't gonna get nowhere with it. Stop playing them games, gonna rot your brain. You better hear what I tell you, boy. I mean, because my mom from down south, so she Mississippi girl. So, they old school fashion. They don't believe on no technology. That's why she really is horrible when it comes to texting and all that stuff. Like, they don't really, it's as if she don't believe in that stuff. But, she has to adapt to the times. And that's a sad reality with, just with time in general. But yeah, like, oh, we're going to rot your brain, boy. Ain't going to get you nowhere. And then when she found out I was getting paid, getting all these contracts. Oh, can I get something? Can you take care of your mother? Can I get something? Oh, that's nice. Oh, you see my son, he doing. See, my mom, she like, again, she's old fashioned. So if I'm not a doctor, or I ain't got no degree or anything like that. She ain't gonna be talking to her friends about me. She'll talk to her friends now. Oh, John, my son's traveling. He's going to Las Vegas. He's going to Cali. He's going to Florida. Oh my God, that boy is traveling. And I'm happy that she's happy that I'm doing my thing. And it's just going to show your parents your worth and what you love and what you do, and you have to put work into it. If you don't put work into it, they won't respect it. And that's just with any traditional family, regardless.
Oh, yeah.
They will respect what you do as long as you're getting, you're making more money. Like it's crazy. Like you have to do what you want, like in your own life, what makes you feel great. Video games, I can get up early in the morning. Jacoby, he knows. I'm up in there, ready about to do a fighting game tournament, or I'm about to do a tournament. I'm about to do work for video games. That's the best thing to get up to. 9-to-5 job. I was like,
no, but that's part of that.
But that's where that value comes into play.
Yeah.
My grandma. When I started, when I definitely went deep into, hey, I am a health coach. This is my thing. My grandma had, I don't know, it took her 3 months to figure out what that was. And even then, now she's just like, yeah, what does Kara do? I don't know, Kara's herself. She just is herself, and that's just what she does. And she's happy if I'm happy. But it is kind of funny how when you have traditional families, they just don't understand. But if you're happy about it, eventually they'll come around and they'll be like, I mean, hey, you're not budging and you're happy. So that matters.
Yeah, but they'll also find ways to adapt as well, because I'm sure that even Jahan can relate to this as well, because my mom is definitely well known here in the community and definitely is a person of prominence to some degree and everything, but at the same time she is not the best on like social media and computers and things of that nature. So she will actually sometimes go to my aunt's house because she knows that my aunt has got those Facebook accounts and things of that nature. So if she wants to see what I'm doing in that space, she will then go check it out at my aunt's house, because she knows that my aunt Julie here in this area has that account. And I'm sure that you've even seen that, Jahan, with some of your family members that may not be all that social media savvy, but they'll find a way to check up in their own unique ways. Because I know that's what mom will do, is she'll go grab Julie's Facebook account or one of my cousin's Facebook accounts to see what's going on in that respect.
Yeah, my mom has an Instagram. Every time I post pictures and I'm doing a tournament, I'm working, she'll like it. She's like, oh, look, my baby doing tournaments. Oh, this is great. And I'm telling you, and and as long as, and honestly, if I could bring her joy, that that I worked my butt off, like I sacrifice, I put my money where my mouth is, like I told her, like, that it's coming, the future's coming. You may never know what's going to change in the modern era, where like before then it used to be like considered like, a sin to be playing video games. Now it's like kids are getting like scholarship money at an early age. Like it's really a different way or form of finding ways to help kids, find themselves and also be able to pay their way to college. Like, with resources like diminishing and not that many, like there used to be a lot of not-for-profit organizations in the past. I used to be a part of this program called Playing to Win. And the funny thing, reason why I signed up for it, because I literally thought it was like a video game, like, area, like a venue. But it was mainly to teach you how to do coding, how to build your own computer. And I fell in love with that. And that's where I met one of my mentors, Fahim, who, we still talk to this day. And we plan to do a lot of things in the technology field, especially in Harlem. Like we have a lot of projects that we're working on. So it's just like, it's amazing that I've known him for so long, like as a teacher and a mentor, and still being able to collaborate with him in that sense. It's amazing. And, it's just everything happens for a reason, right? Like when you get to that point where you're at that level of consciousness where you could be able to see things for what it is, and like, oh, this happened for a reason. I need to go and follow up and continue and pursue it, and be cautious and be, wary about what I need to do in order to kind of like get through it and make it happen. And that's with me. Like every step of the way, I try to plan carefully as much as possible because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. Like I've gotten to a point where I did overwhelm myself. I was taking gigs left and right to where it was just restless. But you also have to have you time, so this way you can be able to refresh and get back on track with what you're doing. So it's definitely a different world I'm in, especially just being in this industry, but I love it every minute of it. Like it's great. It's like probably the best thing, like literally that happened to me. Like it's definitely a huge game changer because like I was suffering where I was at. I was working at New York Presbyterian Hospital in the pharmacy department, and I've been there for 7 years. And the crazy thing was, like, I'm going to be completely honest with you, and I hate to have to be like out there with that, but I felt like I was literally working for a drug dealer. That's how bad it was, to have that work environment, especially it was union too. So it was just a lot of politics, which I don't like politics. Like, right. To me, politics is for the benefit of somebody else, right? Like that's just my definition of politics, right? Like, and that's the reason why, like, I always try to stay true to myself. I'm a human first, and when I see things that don't make sense to me or I don't feel comfortable about it, I had to kind of get out of that situation because it literally was eating me alive. So I took all the money that I was making great money at the hospital, like, and took that and invested in my company, and the best decision I ever made.
Wow.
Yo, man, let me tell you, I was just going to mention, when you get ready to do your nonprofit stuff, definitely hire us and we'll come through for you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man. Look,
come through.
Gotta definitely send me your email.
It's on the thread. I put it on the thread.
Oh, you put it on the thread? Okay, cool.
But not only that, I was getting ready to mention a couple of things that both of you have in common, and I'm going to actually point out two things that I've observed just in this conversation that we've been having right now. One, I'm convinced that neither Jacoby or Zach believe in sleep. And of course, I can't talk because I'm seeing y'all up at a late hour because I'm also up at that hour as well. That's why I know these things. But I know because of the creative space that Jacoby is oftentimes up playing games, but also working on his own games. And I know that Zach is oftentimes up working at his music, and it's like at very late hours and all of that. So I think that both of y'all are definitely dedicated to the work that y'all are doing and to making some great and amazing things that will come out of your respective communities. And I imagine that Caleb and Jahan are the same way. And I know Kara is that way also. So I know that that's all of us here in the space that we've oftentimes so dedicated to our what we're doing that we sometimes don't believe in that concept of sleep. And we definitely have to have sleep, even though it sometimes feels that we've got to be so driven in what we're doing. And the other thing that I was going to bring up is Jahan. Zach did not mention this, but he's also come out of the field of having worked in the medical space as well. So he did some of that when he was in New York. And if he wants to share a little bit about that, he can do that on his own. But I do know he came out of that medical space. So the two New Yorkers came out of the medical space as well.
Hey, see, we got a lot in common, man. See, this is beautiful, man. That's what's up. That's definitely what's up.
I talk about.
I'm just curious because because Caleb, where are you from?
So I was born and raised in Durham, North Carolina, and then I live in Pittsburgh now, but my business is in Cary.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you because it's a lot of craziness going on. Because I'm in New York City, so got trucks and all types of stuff. So you said you're from Durham?
Yes.
And you're currently in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. It's a small.
Oh, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought I heard Pittsburgh. I'm sorry about that. So, and that's in North Carolina. If I'm sorry.
So Pittsburgh is right on the outside of Chapel Hill.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because you took me around. You literally drove me around because I miss being in North Carolina. My stepfather was from North Carolina, God rest his soul. And I used to love going down there, meeting with the family and everything else. So like for me, like coming down to hang out with Jacoby, he's like family too, like just all in all, like really looking out for me and, giving me the opportunities, and I'm very grateful for that. Cause actually the funny thing, I get more opportunities outside of New York than I do, within my own realm, which is completely, insane. That's where I've been like fighting tooth and nail with people in New York City to kind of collaborate each other, but everyone's kind of like so inclusive, like they just have their own clique. They don't really work with that many people, and that's the problem that I have with gaming in New York. Like it's really bad. Like, you know, like things are happening, but it could be a whole lot more be happening, especially as someone who has like resources like that might help you to get to that next level, and it could benefit all of us. Like people don't get that concept. It's more like, you know, I already got what I need and that's it. You know, instead of just really collaborating with people who actually have really good stories. Like, you know, for me, like I'm like legitimate about what I do, right? Like I'm not here preaching or anything like that. Like this is what I do. I love to do this. If I have to travel to do gaming tournaments, I would do it. Jacoby knows he said, man, I need you this weekend. I will be there for him. That's without a doubt. Because that's how much I love gaming. You know, anything that helps support communities, to give people an opportunity, to give a chance to do something, I'm all for that. Like that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to make money and be lavish about it. That's not the case. My work speaks for itself, and it gives me the obviously the pleasure of getting paid, but it's not what I seek. And in general, you know, like that's not what it always, everything that I do, you know, especially in this market, like I just really want things to flourish everywhere. The more it flourishes, the more things that we can do, the great things that can happen from every city, you know. And I've been in conferences where people are like, oh, how we get esports programs. Look for your local tournament organizer. Look for that guy who's super passionate, who's been running tournaments out his backyard or something. Give him that opportunity. You know, I usually tell people, don't resource me, find somebody else. And then you always say, oh, I can't find nobody, because they're lazy. But there's a lot of people just like me in every state, without a doubt. They just got to find them and give them the opportunity that they deserve, because they put in the time and energy to kind of like be a part of this market, you know. And that's the reason why I try to, anywhere I go, I try to find people within the local. Like I had guys like that talk with me and say, hey man, I don't have a local community. How can I, you know, I forgot the gentleman's name that was doing commentary there. I loved him so much. And at the Triangle, Jacoby.
You mean Mac or yeah, actually I gotta get Mac on here. So he's a good guy. He
was amazing.
Yeah, he's really good.
Talented boy.
Yeah, super talented. And this
super
is why,
talented.
Just
like he
told,
just off the top of the dome. He was just doing commentary. I couldn't believe it, how good he was. He has no experience, and he was amazing. That's what I was like, man, do as much as you can, get your face out there, try to like just talk to people. You know, you got it. Like that guy, he is complete magic just with how he does commentary.
John, you mentioned something that I've actually had this conversation with Zach about the music industry, and I'd love to hear all of y'all's thoughts about this, which is how too often we are our own worst enemies, meaning that we let clicks get in the way and things of that nature. So I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts about that, because you were talking about the clicks that you have dealt with, and I'd even love to hear what Caleb's got to see about the clicks that he's seeing in the esports space, because I've seen that, but I'd love to hear what folks' thoughts are. Like I said, me and Zach have had conversations about the music nature and some of its click nature, and also the media space that's here. And I've also had this conversation with Jacoby, but I'd love to hear definitely other folks' thoughts as well. So I guess I'll ask you, Caleb, have you seen a lot of this click mentality in esports here in our area, and how have you combated it?
I actually haven't seen a lot, and when I do, it really comes from more so streamers. I mean, yeah, obviously the kids, I mean, I assume they don't really talk about it there. When they come here, it's more about who's better at the game. But then obviously everyone always wants to be popular and famous on social media. And the only people I know that actually care about it are, you know, like businesses and streamers, which streaming is a business. The main thing is because you're judged and you make money based off of people consuming your content. And so, you know, in order to get your content, you know, consumed, I mean, you do have to be focusing on that. Okay, how many clicks is this YouTube video getting? How many people watching the stream? You know, I mean, if the goal, just say this podcast. I mean, I have no idea what you all's goal is. Just say, oh, we want this to be huge. We want it to be, you know, top 5 esports podcasts, you know, in the world. Well, then that would matter a whole lot. And you would have to pay attention to those clicks, how many people are getting in, what can we do to get more people in? But there's also a goal and a purpose towards that. It's like our goal is what we think for the business. Okay, how do we get more people in? What value can we offer that will make them, want to come? Things like Jatovi's tournaments. Okay, what tournaments will people come to? What value can we offer? So then, that's more so based upon value. I do think it is an issue though. And, part of building a personal brand, but those things, they do matter. Like you can't say, oh, it doesn't matter. For me, in my personal social media, it doesn't matter because, within my business, it's more about the one-on-one relationships that I have with people. I don't care if 5,000 people, in Iceland want to follow me on Instagram. That's not going to do anything. And so that's really, what my whole take on it is, because within building a personal brand and in gaming, it is about, the more clicks, because the more followers you have, more likely you are to get noticed, more likely to set yourself up for a career when you're done playing, add in extra income. So there has to be a balance. But personally, for my business, it isn't something that they care about. They care more about who's better.
What about you, Jacoby? Because like I said, I know we've talked about it a couple of times, and then if Zach wants to chime in, he can as well. But I know we've talked about some of the clicks that exist here, even in our artistic communities.
So, it all depends. As Jahan pointed out earlier, it depends, and even Caleb even just pointed out, it depends on what you're actually doing. If you're a streamer, yes, clicks are big. We had talked about it earlier, or a few weeks ago, how the new craze, which kind of sucks, and I hate the craze. I'll never do it. I may do jokes about it. I'm gonna start doing that, I think, is this hot tub thing. The whole hot tub stream is all about getting clicks and getting views. That's how people get paid. That's how you're able to get sponsors. That's how you're able to get people to donate money and so on and so forth. For example, I would love for tons of people to donate to go ahead and subscribe to Bull City GG on Twitch. I would love it. I'm sure Contender would enjoy the same thing, but that's not my purpose. That's not my point. I just want people to come and hang out and we talk and discuss things and figure out solutions. Money, I'm broke for a reason because I like solutions. I like for people to have fun. I like for people to work together. Money is the last thing on my mind. I'm the worst businessman you could have out there. Yeah, sure. I know about cryptocurrency, but I could give a darn about it. I'm not creating a Bull City GG cryptocurrency that you can buy into. It's something I can do it, but that's something I'm not worried about. Because I want people to play games. I want people to have fun. I'm sitting here playing Valheim. 10 more people can jump on this seed of Valheim server, and we can all sit here and try and figure out where I'm floating off to in the middle of Valheim. Stuff like that is what I want to have happen. I want women to come and play and have fun playing Smash Brothers without getting attacked for being a female who's dominating Smash Brothers. I want African Americans to jump in and play League of Legends because we're poorly represented in the League of Legends community. In esports alone, in the fighting game world, yeah, we may have a larger percentage, but if you look at the esports industry where it makes money, we're very poorly represented about that. So I'm, I digress on that, but getting back to the whole, clicks and everything else. Yes, we all want clicks. We do. Everybody does, because it helps. It helps get your message out. We all want to be that influencer. It helps. But, again, I think what Caleb said is right, is that it all boils down to what your purpose is, what you really want to do. I want people to come have fun. Subscribe if you want to. Pokemon did the whole, we talked about it earlier. She did a whole discussion about the hot tub thing and how it's ridiculous that, some of the streamers have become true car salesmen.
Right.
Give me your money. We're going to have this rundown. Can we get this next subscriber in the next hour? I will eat whatever. I will sleep whatever. Forget all that. Dude, if the people can't pay, don't force them to pay to come and hang out with you. That's not really what it's about. So yeah, it all boils down to your purpose. If you want clicks, yeah, there are ways you can make yourself have clicks. If you want to sell stuff, yeah, I mean, you can go ahead and take it away, Zach.
No, I was just going to ask Mark, when you say clicks, do you mean likes and people hitting your pages, or do you mean people hanging out and keeping others out? I'm just trying to understand. Yes, because they were talking about likes and clicks on the hit. I think you mean the others. Before I answer the question, I want to know distinctly which one are you mentioning?
I was mentioning the other one, the one that Jahan was talking about is happening there in New York in the gaming community. So that's the folks that are not so much. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Definitely to clarify, this is a great conversation, and thanks for having me on Gamers Den. I appreciate it. Like in the smaller communities, right? I noticed that there are definitely more attempts to isolate people that want to come in and be part of it. Now, to me, the way I look at that whole click thing, and it's been happening to me since I've been in North Carolina, which is one of the reasons why my band is not based here. It's based in New York and Philly. One of the things that it's done, I'm still friends with all of these people. And, if they call me for something, I'll help them do it. I always wish them well. But it definitely showed me, okay, that's their thing. And if that's what they want to do and waste energy and time on, it definitely just eliminated people that I wouldn't work with anyway. So I flipped it. If you want to be in a clique, you're doing me a favor, because now it didn't cost me anything to find out how you really are. In New York City, there are no music cliques. And I'll tell you why. Because in New York City, it's big enough for everybody to work and everybody to eat. If I can't do a drum gig, I'm not going to hoard the gig and just like cancel a gig. I'll call up Kevin, or I'll call up Ainsley, or I'll call up somebody else and be like, yo, I got a gig for you tonight. Take my place because I got to do something else. We don't do that up there. That's why in big cities, it's much more successful in the game, because there is no clique. Because the clique is you're in the music game. That is the clique. Once you get in, you're in. I performed at the Twin Towers. I performed at the Garden. I performed at all these places. So you're in the clique. It's just a matter of, like Jahan said, where you kind of see yourself as. What I've learned, especially over the past 3 months, is that you have to see yourself where you want to be and just be happy with that and keep pushing. There's cliques. I'm in the funk clique. That's cool. But here in North Carolina, I love all my brothers and sisters down here. I work with them anytime, but there's most definitely hey, we don't want you part of our small circle. And I'm like, that's cool. Either way is fine. I'm cool with it.
Oh, yeah. Well, now that it's clarified, I'd like to add on that.
Right.
So, I mean,
because I knew you were talking about.
Yeah. Well, here, no, we don't really see any. And usually, like, a lot of people are concerned about people that are toxic here, things like that. Those people really don't actually come, to a place like this. And here we say, we're open to everybody. We said we have a TO meetup tomorrow. Obviously, we invited all the people that we knew that currently do something within either have an org or a TO, or do something within the esports world now. But we also said, yeah, anybody's welcome to, come to it, talk about it. We'll help people with anything. There is, though, like a certain level of dedication that you're going to have to show in order to be doing something, else to be working with you, because, yeah, obviously everyone wants to, do stuff to get into the industry, but who actually is serious, who isn't. And I mean, the Smash tournament, the way that works is anybody can join in one of our Smash tournaments. And, obviously there's only 64 people, so not everyone that wants to get in is going to be able to get in, but anybody's able to join. And any tournament we have, everyone's allowed to try out for teams. I mean, the only cliques that we would have are, oh, well, you're not good enough to play for this team. But I mean, that's this life. It's like, well, you're not, the other person's more qualified for this job than you, or this other person's a better basketball player than you. That's not really excluding anyone out. And we have no goals to do that. We want everyone to be a part, be successful, continuously looking for ways, to help others out. I know, for instance, Jacoby and I have collaborated on a few tournaments in the past, and now with the restrictions being lifted, be really good that it offers us the freedom to be able to do lots of smaller tournaments here at Contender, and then larger events like his TEC events that he had done in the past.
Yeah. It looks like one of Kara's good friends, Nivik, had made a comment about exclusive and inclusive, but I saw it come across the screen, but I didn't see exactly what they said. So you want to mention that and what they were talking about, Jacoby?
It was basically around our discussion about, it being inclusive on particular things. The exclusive offer root word there is exclude. Much rather be inclusive offer. So, hey, we got this exclusive offer for you rather than, hey, look, we want everybody to be a part of this offer. So come join.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, Jahan, how are you seeing the whole effort being to be inclusive there in New York? You talked about some of your early history, but you also talked about how some of the things are going now. So are we seeing more people getting involved in esports, particularly even there in Harlem? Because I know Harlem's got a lot of rich history in our community, but I was just wondering, are we seeing more folks in the African-American community, in the Latin American community, and even among our women friends that are joining, and even among our friends that might be coming out of the LGBT communities and some of the other minority communities? But how are we doing in terms of being inclusive in that gaming space?
Oh, Jahan, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Sorry about that. I just realized that. I was like, wait. So the sad reality of what's going on in New York City is that there's more gamers than there are people trying to do organizing or, putting something together. And that's what I've been struggling with, is because I'm always looking to collaborate with people, that are like-minded and want to do something. I've ran events, throughout like Manhattan, and do Harlem, and it didn't really get too much traction because the problem also too is, like, venues was always like a number one issue. Like when you try to do something, they don't give you like kind of like the best setup or the best options to run your event, and it's just more like, here, just do whatever, but don't do this, don't do that, and it just makes things difficult to be able to run an event, and I was working with a gentleman who's supposed to be the tech guru of New York City. He's a well-known individual. He's been putting tech all over the city. And I was collaborating with him because he has like a little center up in Harlem. And, it's very confusing to a point where you're trying to do something with them, but then, they don't understand like the amount of work and effort you have to put into it. And they think that it's easy because from the outside looking in, they think that esports is like the most easiest thing you can do, right? Like they feel like it's a no-brainer, that it doesn't come with costs. It's not, you don't feel like you don't have to put any effort into it. It's just, it's, you try to explain it to people and they just don't get it. And the problem I had was he kind of like was very hesitant with me. And I had a conversation with him and I said, you're not going to do this. What's going on? What's the problem? The thing he told me, which really bothered me, was that you're uncontrollable. My problem with you is you're uncontrollable. You are your own man and I cannot control you. That is my problem with you. And it's kind of because it's like, why do you have to have complete control of me, of what I do? I know I'm good at what I do, but why would you want to control a talent or potential to help you get to that next level? Because he felt like, oh, well, you can be bought. You could be. No, I said, no, I try to expand myself. I don't just really focus on one thing. I do kind of do too much, but in a sense, it's like, you can't be mad if I go out and do my own work. You're not my only, income, my only source of doing things. I collaborate with you guys, want to help you expand in something that you had literally come and asked for. Like you had someone reach out to me, business wise. And now it's like, you have to have complete control over me. It doesn't make any sense. You get what I'm saying? Like the guy did an event at like this nice big space. Asked him, how are you running this Fortnite tournament? I hate PC. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Running a PC tournament is a complete nightmare. It's beneficial, but you have to have solid internet. That place does not have solid internet. It's a complete nightmare. This guy was running Fortnite on Wi-Fi.
Oh.
Now you already know where that's going. It was a complete night. He didn't hire me for the event because he obviously got offended because I told him running Wi-Fi is suicide. Like he literally didn't understand, you know. And I'm trying to explain to him, like, when you do these games where it consists of a long period of time, gotta expect something to happen. Like it's just not one of those like quick games, you know, and you could get by it. It just doesn't work that way. So can only imagine someone playing for money. Mind you, the money was on the line. And corporate sponsors was part of the event in itself. So it was just mind-boggling how much money he got from these people. And he's trying to do a tournament on Wi-Fi. These kids are like literally here, hyped, excited, ready to play. They're playing a tournament. I kid you not. I'm really bad at explaining things, so you got to bear with me. So imagine a kid playing Fortnite. He's fighting someone on a hill, and then it's in a house. The guy is in the house. He's outside of the house. Now, as he opened the door, the Wi-Fi started pinging out. So imagine he was like stuttering. So the person he was fighting was stuttering. So he was kind of like all over the place. And next thing you know, he just dies. And mind you, you're playing for money, for placement. So, and he was running on workstations.
Oh, wow.
They weren't even set up.
Oh my God. It was a complete nightmare.
It sounds like a complete nightmare.
On a tournament on workstations. What are you doing? So now we're talking about people who are trying to play. They're taking like 20 minutes to sign up. So this way they can get their like configurations, because everyone has their special configurations on it, stuff like that. They couldn't get it going. So they were forced to use mouse and pad. It was a complete nightmare. And you know what's so funny? This is when we did that 5-on-1, Jatovi. I think I told you about this. You remember? I did the 5-on-1. I came down to North Carolina to play your 5 players. Yeah. Right? Yeah, when I had the Thanos glove. Yeah. When I went down that was the same week. I was literally, that Friday, I was at that guy's tournament waiting to get on my bus to head down to Durham.
Oh, wow. What was the name of that tournament? Somebody just asked that.
Fortnite in the Heights.
Fortnite in the Heights.
It was, I think it's called Fortnite in the Heights.
Okay.
Jahan, it was in Washington Heights. And the funny thing was literally at my old job, my near Presbyterian. It was across the street. There was a place called the Castle or something. It's like the Castle or something. I forgot what, but it looks like a castle. And it's the Armory. There we go. It's called the Armory. Okay. On 168th Street. You know what I'm talking about. It's called the Army on 168th Street. They're only known for track field.
Oops, John disappeared. But, hopefully he'll come back, because it was really fascinating. He's coming back. And I was fascinated by what he was talking about, because I've seen a lot of that even here and everything. You popped off there for a second, Jahan. One of the things I was going to say is that, I was definitely going to just kind of wrap up some of the things that you were saying, because it's very fascinating, because we see that even here, because I know that I have a good friend that Zach, and I think Jatovia has met him as well, by the name of Ray Pascal, and he used to be involved at our local theater and everything. And he would talk about people that would try to get your knowledge of different things, because he was an event he was the rental coordinator for the Carolina Theater many years ago, until he had some other things that caused him to get out of that job and everything. But he would talk about how people would always want to be promoters or get advice and all of that, but they wouldn't necessarily take the advice. So that seems like you were giving this man a lot of good, solid advice. And what my friend Ray calls it is the brain drain. So he talks about how a lot of times people will grab this knowledge and drain your brain, but not necessarily give you the rewards, whether that's capital or whether that's the actual acknowledgement that you know what you're talking about, kind of rewards and things of that nature. So it sounds like that's what you're dealing with. I know that I've had this conversation with Zach about some things going on in the community, and I imagine I could have the same thing with Toby and Caleb as well, because sometimes it feels that folks don't necessarily understand the expertise that we have. I'm imagining that you get that quite a bit, Caleb, because you're actually relatively young in this space. So I was wondering, do you have this kind of situation where folks are not necessarily listening to your advice, even though you've been in the field for a few years now and definitely have the expertise? I mean, I don't know how to run an esports game, and I will acknowledge that. So I would come to somebody like Jahan or like you, Caleb, or like Toby if I was going to get involved in that as an event planner. But I don't know that all event planners know to go to the right sources. So have you dealt with that at all yourself, Caleb?
No, I actually haven't. And the main thing with it is because what I deal with is the same thing everyone else deals with. It's the fact that people just overall don't understand it. And so when someone comes to us about wanting to put on a certain event, then they already understand esports and gaming. And so it's really no issue. Like we're doing Smash now. The person, he's actually a staff member as well, but he came on, like he was telling us he wanted to come and bring a Smash event that's offline, but even still, he would understand if it was something online. And so also, whenever we may speak, like if we were to reach out and say we want to put on, a Fortnite tournament for a local nonprofit. Well, I mean, the kids just want to show up there and have fun. So they're not really going to complain about anything. And most people that we've met, they honestly aren't looking into, doing venues. And most do actually listen, because anybody that comes to me specifically comes to me for a reason, because I've already done it. And so they don't come to me because they're like, oh, wait, this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Now, I personally don't understand the ins and outs of IT and PCs, but I do understand. I do know the basics of when I say to someone, oh yeah, you need this type of internet, you need this type of equipment. It costs a certain amount, and that's something most people do not want to do. And like tournament organizing as well, Jatovi could tell you this. Tournament organizing is, like, for us, it is a very good income booster, but it is not something that can just be sustainable and profitable. And a lot of these tournaments, people that are tournament organizers, a lot of, like, they retire after a few years. Well, they do it simply just out of the love of it. Usually they lose money because they have to pay for venues and all that, and the money that people pay for it is really just paying for that stuff. They have to do the whole travel themselves. So, answer your question, no, I don't really see that from people. I mean, if I do get something like that from people, it's if it's something technical, which I'm the first to admit. If they ask about building a PC, I'll say you need to talk to this guy or that guy, or I'll refer them to someone who actually has those special expertise.
What about you, Jacoby? Have you dealt with that where folks will sit there and not necessarily give you that respect that you need and everything? Because I have seen that happen in various industries, the music industry, the film industry, the theater industry, and I imagine it goes on in the game industry as well.
It does. It does. So the groups that I usually work with are, the cities themselves, some people in the tech area, but a lot of the cities and some of the nonprofits that I'll end up dealing with have their own established, event coordinator, and trying to suggest certain things to some event coordinators who only do things a particular way and don't see things outside of that box. They begin to get set in the idea that, hey, you're doing it wrong because this is the way I normally do it. Well, not really. This is the way gamers are. These things are what gamers want. These things are what they see as attractive. they're not going to see the same thing that, those individuals that are dropping in, that $1,000 or so that are only dropping in for your nonprofit golf tournament. It's a different clientele. So yeah, I've come across some of the people that are like that, but it's just again, it's a communication line. You have to communicate to them. For example, trying to explain to a group of individuals that are older board members, trying to get them to understand that esports is the future. They're not going to see that. They're going to see, oh, wow, no, it's just this. So yeah, having to deal with people outside of the video game realm to get them involved into it, because that's where I think the esports needs to have or video gaming needs to go, is the fact that, trying to get more people who aren't involved to understand what it is. That's where I normally run into those individuals.
Gotcha, definitely. It seems like it's just going on more and more in various sports and various kind of things that we're having in our society. So I'm glad that y'all were talking about that. I did want to come back to this whole concept of.
Did you want me to answer or no?
Oh yes, I'm sorry, Zach. I did not mean to leave you out.
You just gotta walk. Kara usually will help tell Mark to be quiet and let people answer.
Yeah, I think the original question was, do people take you seriously? Is that what you were saying before? Like yes. With ideas and things. Okay. Yes. To answer your question, and thank you, Jatovi. To answer your question, I think sometimes, people will want to try to take your own ideas and make them theirs. It will be the same thing. And then it's a great idea. And then sometimes, you have a great idea and you find a group of people that you can work with that believe in what you're doing. But a lot of times in the creative field of the music side of it, if people don't dig what you're doing, you just go off and do your own thing anyway. So you use that as fuel. I have a whole room full of no's that people have told me no. And every time I need some fuel, I just go in that room. I pull out, hey, well, this person said you stink. This person said your music sucks. And I use that as fuel. So that's my suggestion to anybody out there. When you hear the no's, it's okay. Because, Edison had 99 light bulbs and only one worked.
Well, I hadn't thought about that. Edison had 99 light bulbs and only one of them actually worked. I forgot about that part of history because I consider myself definitely a student of history, but Zach, you pulled one on me. I didn't realize that one, so you might have to give folks a little bit of explanation about that one because I hadn't even thought about that in any sense. So definitely share a little bit more about that story because that's a new one on me.
What happened, he kept trying to make the light and it didn't work. And he had 99 failures. And the one that finally worked is the one that we know. So he kept going is my point. People are always going to tell you no. They're always going to try to say, hey, that's a horrible idea. Then you turn around and be like, hey, I thought that was a horrible idea. All you did was flip it and reverse it. So people are always going to do that. The business, in any business, industry, entertainment, gaming, there's always the people like, John and Jatovi and Caleb mentioned that, listen, it's my way or the highway. And as an independent artist, I've dealt with the big labels, Sony and them, and that's how they roll. And they have a right to roll like that because they're in that position. But where they fail to realize is that talent will always rise to the surface. I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care where you live at. You could live in the remote areas of Colombia, in the jungles, in the woods. If you have talent, it is good enough. Someone will find you. And I'll just leave it at that. Don't give up, I guess, is the point of what I'm trying to say to anybody out there doing anything.
No, I definitely agree.
I completely agree with that. And thanks, Jatovi, for calling me out. I guess I've been enjoying this conversation so much. I've been literally a fly on the wall. I'm like, y'all can't even see me anyways. I literally just thoroughly enjoyed this conversation to no end. So I've just been like in the back seat, not refereeing Mark. But maybe I should. Maybe I should just keep doing that. But no, I agree, Zach. having a strong sense of purpose and self,
Thank you.
and just having that strong sense of self, and hey, I contribute, and not leaving that aspect, just like, no, this is me, and I'm going to hit hard on that. That is incredibly important, no matter what field you're at. And it is so hard because you can get in your head, and your head is constantly trying to tell you to survive and duck out of the way and don't get hurt. But it's so important to stay strong and stick with it and be like, no, but the payoff is that I just keep being my awesome self, and I not only benefit from it, but my craft and who I'm with and who I'm benefiting, like, everyone just wins. It's so important to just think about it that way, that we're not a burden, we're not a bother, we're all just contributing and just being amazing, and who cares what other people think.
Honestly, what Nivik said right there, I don't know if you can see it, Kara, but I think Nivik's actually put it great. What do they call the person who finished last in medical school? A doctor.
Yes, Nivex, you're amazing. You're amazing.
Good point, Nivix.
Love
Nivix
it.
is truly amazing.
Also,
Coming
shout
back.
out to Nation Kitchen for not kicking me out yet, because I've been scooting from table to table, and they're like, is she running away?
Shouts.
Shout out to the amazing people at Nation Kitchen in Pendleton. Anyway,
Nation Kitchen. Love it.
Interesting. Just tell them you're testing out all the chairs.
they probably, yeah. I mean, they only love Henry at this point. They're like, we're over you, Kara.
Well, Kara, you are there to pretty the place up, so they should be grateful.
That's what I've been told today, apparently. So I'll take the compliments. Thank you.
That is totally the reason that she's over there at Nation's Kitchen, apparently. Jahan, one of the things I was going to bring up, and I brought it up earlier, but I just wanted to come back to it and everything, just to not leave things hanging and all of that, was this whole concept of the Olympic Games coming out as a video game, because apparently Sega has released the video game version of the Olympics, even though we're not sure that the Olympics are happening, but they've got basically what I would consider the basic sports involved. And I actually had a privilege of having a guest on yesterday on one of our shows that dealt with the whole concept of naval sports. They were actually talking about the basic sports like basketball and football, but they were also talking about rowing. And I hate to tell Mr. Carl that rowing is not among the sports that are featured in the video game, but it's several of the track events. It's baseball, basketball, beach volleyball, BMX cycling, boxing, judo. The rugby 7 did make it. Soccer, a couple of the swimming events, sports climbing, which actually surprises me, table tennis, and tennis. So that's the ones that are being featured on the official Sega Olympic Games. So what are your thoughts about those sports that they decided to include, and about the fact that they're going to have some Olympic video games, even though we may not actually have the Olympics? And maybe Caleb wants to jump in that as well, and anybody else also. And by the way, it's really fun. Go ahead.
I think it's a good way to, we kind of missed out on a lot, right? Like within the year and a half. And I just thinking that anything that can give people, and I'm assuming like the this game actually has like real life people in it, right?
That's what it looked like.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like to give people kind of like, just being able to be a part of a game, like I think that's really amazing. Like, I go far back as like I was in love with track and field too. Like that was my Nintendo game, back then, because it was obviously kind of like Olympics. They had everything. Like probably like 9 games if I'm not mistaken. Just seeing how things have evolved now, like just with just Olympic Games and stuff, it's been quite amazing, and I think it's great too because a lot of kids would never know majority of those type of games. So it kind of like would probably generate interest. You're like, oh, clay shooting. Oh, I never know about clay shooting. Maybe I want to get into that. Stuff like that. A lot of stuff that like even me, like I never was a part of, but I know about it because of the games itself. So I just think that games kind of help with the reality of giving you, a vision of what it looks like. And then if you want to have that interest to go out and actually try it, you obviously have to go do research and figure out where you can be able to do that. And that's the beautiful thing about games in itself,
Hey, Toby, apparently the game is not going to be all that cheap because I just saw that it's set for the 22nd of June, and apparently it's priced at roughly $40. So, like I said, I don't know if that's the going rate, but it does say $39.99.
They've had a bunch of Olympic games. As Jahan pointed out, track and field was one of the greatest Nintendo games ever to be played. Not track and field 2, but track and field 1.
Yeah.
Two buttons, and you had to sit there like that. And just like somebody just pointed out, that the power pad itself, that was a workout. So I mean, track and field, and I mean, they've always put out Olympic style games. The Olympics were supposed to have an esports competition. That was one thing that Rick Fox was pushing. I don't know how far they got. At one point, I think it got declined. If I remember, it would be nice if it were in there now.
I thought it was. I thought they were doing Rocket League and Mortal Kombat.
I don't know if it is or not. They may. I have to look that up.
It wasn't going to be officially a part of the Olympics. It was going to be like
because they were supposed to have an official Olympic.
Okay, I don't think it's official.
Yeah, everybody's doing like something on the side, but they were supposed to have an official part of the Olympics was going to be some esports games, and that's what Rick Fox was after he left out of Echo Fox. That's what he was supposed to be pushing and working on with the Olympic Committee, but I thought it got declined. So I mean, Mark, you're right there. I guess you can check and see if it's still going.
I'll check that and everything. But are we talking the same Rick Fox that played basketball and is known for that?
Rick Fox. So they actually did a special on him. I think it was Vice that did a special on him on the whole Echo Fox. That was his team.
Oh, really? They actually did it?
Yeah, they did a whole thing on Echo Fox. That was his official team after he left out. And it was a whole behind the scenes of what goes on esports and how in the gaming world, or in the gaming community. Somebody pointed out what's supposed to be Street Fighter V and Rocket League, but they did the whole behind the scenes of this is what it takes to have a whole esports team. You have to have your house and the pro esports team playing together. They were playing League of Legends and doing a whole thing. And Echo Fox is what happened Echo Fox was Rick Fox's team. From what I understand, he got frustrated with it and left out of Echo Fox or sold it somehow. I mean, some whole political mess behind what he was doing.
Politics. There's that politics again, Jahan.
The straight politics. That's all it boils down to is politics. The problem is a percentage who control what. You don't agree with me? I don't like you. Let's vote him out. That's it. Like, you become a problem, they kick you out. You gotta understand some of these organizations and the problem with esports teams nowadays, they don't do background checks, right? Like, you don't, there's like not no licensing or anything to become an esports team. Anyone could do an esports team. If you want to do an esports team, all you had to do is just come up with a logo and a name, and that's it. Like, let's be realistic here. Like, that's the problem with esports nowadays. There's nothing regulated. It's very premature. We will always be in a premature state regardless, because there's no licensing, there's no regulation, there's no one governing this stuff. And that's the main reason why you have all these random companies. You'd be surprised. A lot of them are dealers on the side, and they're throwing money through these esports teams. Mm-hmm. And I don't have proof. I wish I did, but some of them operate drug dealers. Let's keep it 100%. Where this money coming from?
So, I mean, esports, yes.
Let's be realistic here.
What Jahan is saying is spot on. It is completely an unregulated thing at this moment, because it's brand new in any industry. I mean, the industry itself is still only a few decades old. Yeah, sure. The decades, you're looking at 20, 30 years, but that's still very new. If you look at football has been around for a century.
Yeah.
Baseball, even longer. Basketball, even long. I mean, just as long. It's just so esports itself, there is no regulating body on the esports side of things. You join particular things like ESL has their setup, Contender has their setup, E-League has their setup. So you go down the list, but there's no regulating body overarching all of them saying, okay, well, if you're going to run a Street Fighter 5 tournament, it must be this.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
that's the
only thing
publisher.
close to it is the gaming companies.
Yeah,
what
that's
they
it.
say.
Wow.
But there's no esports regulating body. And that's where I think there's a company in either Japan or China that was trying to do that there's trying to be an esports regulating body. But again, it's still a group.
So no doubt about that. And
there's no
speaking of
way you
regulated,
can do it. The problem is
there
there's
is.
no way you can do it. And the reason I'm saying that is because there's so many people who are trying to be that high governing body. There's a lot of organizations that they claim that they're the federation or they're the regulators of certain things. Really not. It's just a bunch of people with a lot of money and they just want to control how money is being funneling and throughout the esports market. So anytime an event happens, they get paid. It's just really trying to strong arm any event from happening or anything to be, like we have to pay a processing fee in order to run a tournament. Like there's no reason why we should be doing that. If I'm paying out my own pocket, why am I paying you to do it? You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. So I just think that the problem with esports is that we have to, which is entirely impossible, but to kind of weed out all the people who are making things difficult. I've been cusp of all the nonsense, working with people, knowing exactly who they are, guys who claim that they hire us when they're really not. Then they're just a name on a company, and they don't really hold no position of power or anything. And they want to make them feel like they actually, have control of something. The power to players. That's the reason why it's the strongest concept you could ever, mention. And games. Right, power to the players. We are the ones who are responsible on how we see things fit. It's a collective whole, the community to see like, hey, we don't like this, so we're trying to come up with ways to figure out how we can be able to. And they come in with this thing called code of conduct. Like we're trying to figure out how the way we can go about running tournaments, about people being respectful during tournaments, and women being arrested during tournaments, stuff like that, sexual harassment. We're trying to figure out ways, but we're trying to find that middle ground that works and that makes sense, right? Like that's not like completely out of our context. So it's very tough because everyone wants to be in that position, but they don't really bring nothing to the table.
And that makes a lot of sense.
Add to that.
Go ahead, Caleb.
I mean, are you guys familiar with how like martial arts work, like football, boxing and MMA, those types? Yeah, so pretty much it's the same thing. I mean, we'll take, because everyone's heard of the UFC. Well, there's that, and then there's everything else, and then the UFC is pretty much like the events Epic Game host or the events that Riot host. And so, like they're outsourcing Nerd Street Gamers for the Valorant, but they're the only ones that really run it. And now people can run tournaments and one-off events, but I think it should be the gaming companies do it all or outsource someone to do it. Because the thing I hate so much about collegiate esports is that that's why the collegiate esports or the Collegiate Sports Management Group create the Collegiate Esports National Championship, because there's Play Versus, there's CSL, there's NACE, and there's so many more. And they're like, well, how can you be the national champion if there's like 7 other leagues? And so they made a whole championship all in one. But I feel like, in regular sports, it's like the NCAA is the governing body over it. So I feel like the gaming companies themselves should outsource a company to actually run like a recreation, a youth, more so development. But then even still, once the age hits 13, when they can actually play, like when you can play in Fortnite competitions, I think it should cut off and be like, okay, you either do like these one-off tournaments for fun, or you actually play in these like super competitive epic game type competitions, because in all reality, it's like to get somewhere, because I did boxing for a little while. I just did it for the workout. I had no interest in getting anywhere, but it's pretty much you just fight people, build up a record, and then hope that someone will come along and sign you, which is essentially how esports is. And there's like 3 different divisions or belts in boxing, that you can be in. And so it's like, well, which one's the best? And you have this whole issue of fighters, like they should have fought someone 3 years ago, and they fought them and beat them. Like, oh, this fighter beat them like they wouldn't have if they fought them 3 years ago. I feel like what's happening in boxing, MMA is the same thing that's happening in esports. And I'm wondering, because see, boxing's been around for a super long time. I'm wondering if it's something that will ever be fixed, because we all have to remember, Epic, Riot, Activision, Blizzard, they all have the same goal, and that's getting people to make in-game purchases.
Yep.
And so I'm not gonna buy a skin because my child's in some rec esports league. I'm gonna buy it because I love watching the Overwatch League, and as a result of that, I start playing the game. And from playing the game, I'm like, oh, I want to buy this skin.
Yeah, I mean, each company Riot and Epic are competitors, and that's why no governing body will ever be built, and we're going to be stuck in the whole boxing world in esports. And sadly enough, that whole split where you have the IBF and WBO and all the other divisions in boxing, and just how you talked about how, for example, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford will not fight. Why? Because they got separate managers. And then on top of that, the WBO and the IBF won't make them fight. It's just they're the 2 best middleweights right now. Or I'm sorry, welterweights right now, and they will not fight because of that. And then 10 years down the road, just like Pacquiao and Mayweather, they're going to end up fighting, and it's going to be the worst fight ever to be put on TV because they're old and past their prime. It's the same thing what you're talking about in esports, Caleb, because you're right on that, is that, yeah, you're going to have different companies. You're going to have everybody in Fortnite isn't going to play in Epic's tournament because sometimes they can't play in the Cash Cup, and they can't go to DreamHack, or they can't go to the different tournaments of the E-League and so on and so forth. It would be nice to have a full-blown governing body and say this is the championship, and people feed into that championship. But because the companies are all competitors and they all want to make money. I can't buy the skin in League of Legends if I buy the skin in Rocket League. So which one am I going to spend my money on?
Yeah.
And that's
my whole thing on that too is like, I feel like it's like how professional sports currently is. And then which UFC, MMA is better because in UFC, Dana White's pretty much that governing bias is you must fight this person and all that stuff. But then the fighters don't get paid as much as they should either. But it's like, there's NBA, there's NFL.
He's also a butthole.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Well, yeah.
Well, let's just put it out there. The person apparently is not all that great. By the way, Toby, I was going to mention to you the stuff that you wanted me to look up and everything, which is that the International Olympic Committee has announced that it did organize a slate of 5 esports events to be staged ahead of the Summer Games, and this was from last month. And those Olympic virtual series was supposed to feature competitions in auto racing, baseball, cycling, sailing, and yes, my guest from last week would be glad to know rowing, who is one of the other sports as well. So actually, he was my guest yesterday, but he would be glad to know that rowing was one of those that was supposed to be featured in this Olympic virtual series. And esports is supposed to be joining the Olympics as an official sport in 2024 when it comes to it actually says that it'll be coming to the Olympics in 2024, and it's already been announced as a medal event at the 2022 Asian Games, which will take place in Hangzhou, China. So it looks like there is some esports competitions coming to that Olympic space starting next year.
Does it say what games?
That's a good question. Let me pull up the article and I will find out.
Because, the Street Fighter and Rocket League is the one that it was supposed to be. Did they change that?
We will look it up and see what we can find as y'all continue this conversation and everything. Because
I'd be surprised if it's
I'll
still Street Fighter
continue
5
on
because
then.
6
Yeah.
to come out soon.
Yeah. So, well, back to what I was saying before. I mean, they have lots of different sports. There's golf, there's tennis, there's the NBA, NFL, all those. Well, there's also collegiate. I mean, within that, people like different sports. Just for instance, people are going to like different games. Now, the NBA and the NFL, I mean, they don't really work together, I don't think. And it's also very rare you see championships happening the same week as, another. Like, the Overwatch League finals never happen when the League of Legends finals do. And the thing is, it depends on what you like. So for me personally, I like Rocket League and Overwatch. Like, those are my two favorite to watch. So I'm going to play those games, spend money in the game, go to those competitions and watch them. And that's what I'm going to do. Games, if the Rainbow Six Major wasn't here, there's no way I would have traveled and spent money to, go and watch that.
Mm-hmm.
And so these gaming companies need to realize that, yeah, you may lose out. Like, if I could only go to Rocket League or Overwatch, then I may pick Overwatch. So they may lose out, but they're not going to lose out as much as they think that they actually are. And there doesn't need to be a governing body. They're more so who just needs is to be this whole, in order for me to win, they have to lose, like they have to lose that mentality. And it's just that they need to make some like actual system structure. Like, I like the whole European soccer model where there's a promotion and relegation. If you win, you go up. Or if you finish top 3, you go up. If you're already there, then you fight for the championship. If you finish bottom 3, you go down. And so, and I feel like that's more so how esports should be. So then people can actually see, oh, there's a way. It's that I'm on this team. If we win, if we do well, we'll get rewarded and move up. It's like, no matter how good my team is, unless if we pay $20 million, we'll never be in the LCS.
And that's still, like I said, that's where a governing body would have to come into play. I mean,
it doesn't say which ones it was in the 2022 or which ones it will be, but it did say that 6 video games were featured when they did it in the 2018 games, which were held in Jakarta and Palembang, Indonesia. And those games included Arena of Valor, Clash Royale, Hearthstone, League of Legends, Pro Evolution Soccer, and StarCraft 2. And y'all are speaking like a foreign language to somebody that doesn't play video games.
Pro Evolution?
When you can do FIFA, you're going to choose Pro Evolution? I literally don't know anybody.
That's what I'm saying.
That plays PES. Like,
and in all honesty, Jahan's right, because Street Fighter 5, I don't see Street Fighter 5 being around in 2024. It's got to be something new.
Yeah, it's at its last end right now because they just announced last season and they're trying to push into 6. So I think they're going to use this opportunity to kind of like promote 6 at the games.
And you got,
which would be,
and you got Virtual Fighter coming out.
Yeah,
I heard that Power Rangers are doing something
thank
now.
you. Next
Virtual
week,
Fighter
I think it's next June, and in June, and it's $4.99. Beautiful.
Oh, it's only $4.99. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay,
$4.99. You have to be a PlayStation Plus.
PlayStation Plus.
$4.99, man.
I'm getting.
But no, actually, it's free. If it's isn't it when you're a PlayStation, it's free. I don't know. I gotta check again.
Yeah, because we got to play. Caleb, you in on that? Virtual Fighter 5. We gonna play. I mean, Virtual Fighter 4. No, it's Virtual Fighter 4. That's 5. 5. Yeah.
I don't really play fighting games, but I'm down.
We gotta do it. We're gonna get Mark and Zach to play.
Good luck with that, because I have no idea what is what. Believe me, I've seen these kids do it. My daughter does it. She's 13. My other one is 17. She don't really do games, but my 13-year-old is locked in. She does one of those games where it's like building a house, dragons, this, that. I don't know. I don't even pay attention to it. But I watch what she does, and she showed me one day, and the enjoyment that she had. And I watched her do it, and I was like, okay, show me this, show me that. How do you do it? How do you keep the sheep in the pen? That game, whatever, right? And she's really adept at it, and I realized that that's her thing, that's her generation, and I support whatever she does in it. So it's kind of cool. But it's interesting. She's 13.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I wanted to bring up a point. I think because, and this goes back to what you guys were saying about people being too stiff in the business and not willing to bend and change with the times. Every scientific movie from Star Wars to now, the original Star Wars, where they had the game beam in and they were playing, Wookiee, and they were fighting each other. Everything that technology has brought to us, and believe me, they don't tell us everything. We're 40 years behind where we should be, and they got it. They won't let it out. But it's all here now. And the virtual fighting and the virtual golf and everything and baseball and all of these games, it's so nice to see that everything that I grew up with as a kid that was science fiction is actually happening. And I'm blessed. I got to tell the audience, I'm blessed because my generation is the only generation that has seen this much change. No other generation, the baby boomers, we have seen the most ever. And it's an amazing thing. And I just want to tip my hat to you young brothers and sisters, man, because you guys are taking this thing to another level. I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. You guys are great. Don't listen to the BS about anything anybody from another generation says negative. Don't feed out that noise. Don't listen to it because you guys are the future. You're doing it, and I can see it, and I'm happy you're doing it because progress is the one thing that will never stop. We have to keep going. We have to be smarter. We have to do better. And you guys are living proof that everything I imagined as a kid has manifested itself. So thank you for that. I do have to jump off because I have some other things I have to do. But thank you for inviting me. I'll come back anytime you want me. And please just let me know. You guys, please keep up the good work. I'm proud of you all, man. Nappyhead Funk Army. Follow me. Y'all know where I'm at. And we'll be talking. You got my email, Jahan, and also Caleb, and as well, Jacoby. I want to talk about some things with the game, and you and I have talked about it. I got some good ideas, and I think they'll be a hit. Mark, thank you for inviting me, sir. I have to get up. Kara, I love you. If you're back there, see you later.
All right, see you, Zach.
All right,
no problem. I have to agree with everything that Zach just said in terms about that future and everything. There are still a couple of things that I've been waiting for that we haven't gotten to, but I am seeing them on the way because as Jacoby knows and as Zach and some of the other folks know, I am not a driver. I'm a mass transit person. So I've been waiting for those self-driving cars. And Jahan, I was glad because, I do watch a lot, way too much of TV and things of that nature. So I did see the commercial with the self-driving car that was making deliveries of pizza. So I figured it's only a step away from delivering people. So like I said, I did see that commercial for, I think it was Domino's, where they were driving the self-driving car to your location. And they actually even used a cartoon character, and I forgot which one it was, because he's trying to stop him.
I think it was called, Nero or something like that.
Something like that.
He actually had his own game too.
That was the Noid.
The Noid, yes, the Noid. He had his own Nintendo game, and that was actually fun.
Because they created that character for Domino's, and then it became so popular they gave him a video game.
And that's hard. That game's hard to find. You can't find it anywhere.
No.
It's a rare.
Well, that comes back to the old school games, which I had mentioned earlier. That was the other thing I was going to loop back around to and everything. Because I was wondering whether Caleb's got any of those old school games. I need to find me a game of Centipede. Yes, I do remember Centipede. And I need to know if Caleb's location has got any Centipede or the Pac-Man versions or any of those old school games. Because I need to find some place that I can play Centipede at.
I don't think so. I mean, I may be able to find some people that do. I know there have been some older people that come in with, those something that you use to play fighting games on. I'm like, I don't play fighting games, so no idea what those things are.
Gotcha. So, Jacoby, is there any place nearby that I can find a game of Centipede or something, one of those old school places?
Yeah, I mean, there are tons of them. Matter of fact, you can get it on your phone. You can actually, not supposed to, but you can download the different ROMs and put it on your phone.
I will keep that in mind. It took me forever to get on Clubhouse, so they had to come to Android.
I used to play Asteroids on my Android.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm just glad the Clubhouse finally came to Android because, I've been checking out their conversations because I I was feeling really excluded when they were strictly an iPhone event and all of that. So they've come down to earth and let us common folks use it as well.
Clubhouse?
Yep,
Oh, okay. Can download that now, finally.
you can.
Oh,
So
Clubhouse is finally on Android?
it is on Android as of about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, nice. So I can go ahead and put it on there.
Yep.
Do you still have to be invited into Clubhouse? That's the question.
They are still using that invitation model, but I think I still got 2 or 3 invitations. So I will try to make sure that I send my invitations to Jahan and Caleb, because I saw you were already on there. Jadobi.
Yeah, I'm definitely already on there. I got actually, and it wasn't even my sister that got me on. It was another friend that actually got me on.
Well, actually, you know the person that got me on because she's involved in kind of the knowledge of sports, including esports. But it was actually Camille that got me on.
Oh, okay.
Olivia Gatewood's daughter.
Yeah.
Because I happened to look on my phone. It's like, you have an invitation to Clubhouse from Camille. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and join.
It's an interesting platform. It definitely is an interesting platform. They had to hurry up and put the Android version out because Discord brought their version of Clubhouse, their whole stages, and that's pretty cool.
Gotcha. So, Jahan, have you joined the Clubhouse family?
I'm not too sure what that is, honestly.
It's like a social app, kind of like Discord, but it's basically a lot of conversations. The way I describe it, and I don't know if Jacoby would agree with me, and I'm actually going to date myself here, but if you remember watching the old TV shows and things of that nature, and you would have like those party lines on your telephone, meaning that folks would be having conversations, but you could hear everybody on the same conversation. That's what it reminds me of.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, I'm on like Discord, Slack, Band, because when we do tournaments, like we use those programs to keep in touch, and if anything comes about, like we could keep in contact, whatever. So
yeah, that's the same
I'm
kind
excited though because Evo is happening, so we're doing online. So I'm super excited for that. That means work, like we're getting back to normal hopefully soon. But I'm excited until next year because I know Evo is going to be amazing next year.
Evo is going to be nuts next year. It's going to be packed.
And I have I have no clue what's happening at this point. I'm just like everyone else, but my speculation is like I think that with PlayStation, just Sony in general, acquiring Evo, I think they're going to use that as a PlayStation experience.
They have to because they got rid of PlayStation experience.
Yeah, at E3. So that's just my assumption, because it's not at E3. So I'm assuming that they're collaborating with Evo because Evo already getting probably 6,000 to 7,000 people coming. And just with that alone could jump to 20. It could be a full blown on convention. And Mandalay Bay is huge. I don't know if you've been to Mandalay Bay.
That's in Vegas, right? Yes, I have not been there, but
it's huge. And Evo always require tons of space. We're talking about 200,000 square foot of space. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, you're talking the Mandalay Bay in Vegas. Yeah, that's a big space. I actually went there for the first time, Vegas, about 2.5 years ago, and that was my first time ever going there. But I'm definitely on my return trip and all of that plans to get there at some point or another. But Jacoby, I did have a quick question before we get ready to wind everything down, which is, what is your thoughts about the Amazon buy of MGM? Speaking of major things that are going on, because that's something that we've seen in the media space, and I know that that's part of your space as well. So I was just wondering what you thought about that, and also Vimeo going public, because Vimeo just went public, I think about less than a week ago.
Money.
Yeah.
Amazon needs to compete with MGM is going to allow Amazon to compete with Netflix, HBO, or Warner Brothers, and all the other ones because that's huge right now. That's cash. That's lots of cash. So that purchase is going to help Amazon compete there. And that's really all that really was. Going public, same thing, money. I mean, you make more money going public.
Yep. I can definitely see that, and that would be more money and all of that.
I mean, Discord, Microsoft is still trying to. Well, I think the offer is over. Microsoft is still trying to buy Discord for $30 million, but I think the offer is off the table now. But yeah, that's what they were going for. So it's all about money. Discord is a huge thing, and it brings in a whole bunch of people, or has a whole bunch of people with it. So yeah, it'd be nice for Microsoft to have Discord in their minds.
Oh. So, to my understanding, there's a lot of subsidiaries, Epics, United Artists, this TV, MGM, HD, United International Pictures. So, yeah, they have access to a lot of the production, producing studios and everything else.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised if you see an Amazon movie theater.
It's coming.
Surprised.
Oh, that's definitely coming.
Amazon wants money.
Amazon movie theater.
Yeah, that's definitely coming. The Amazon movie theater, and they might even, deliver the Amazon movie to you if you don't make it to the Amazon movie theater. So, like I said, Amazon is just this big mammoth organization. Is becoming more and more mammoth and everything. But we had Brandon on one of our shows yesterday. Jacoby, he's the travel guy and everything, and he was actually, and part of it was because of Discord, but he was actually thinking that some of those apps like Clubhouse and Discord will not necessarily make it. He was actually thinking of them as a fad. I don't know that I agree that they're a fad, but he did also say that if you're going to jump on it, now is the time to jump on it, because now is the time that you actually have access to the folks that are using it. But do you agree with him that, say, the Clubhouses, the Discord, and Slack, and the rest of them are part of a fad that's out there in the media community, or will they have a life, meaning an extended life?
That Discord's part of a fad?
Yeah, Discord, Clubhouse,
No.
some of those, huh?
No, Discord's not part of a fad. Discord is the communication that many in the tech community and gamers use. The problem is that people don't understand what Discord came out of. I mean, you're looking at, what is it, IRQ from way back in the day. Everybody was using their version of, AOL Messenger and all the other stuff, while people in the tech community were using something completely different. That's the same thing with Discord. It's not a fad. Discord's going to be here to stay for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And what about the other programs like that are the communication tools and things of that nature? Do you think they'll be around for a long time as well, or are they just going to be faded?
I mean, there are some that will come and go, because MySpace came and went.
Right.
But you've got particular ones that fill particular needs, and the others don't mess around in their space at all. Right. So you've got like Facebook, which is going to stay around forever. Twitter is going to stay around forever. They fill a niche. But you've got some that'll pop up and go. Hopefully Parler will disappear again. But it's nothing but 4chan. So you've got niches that are being filled, and once something grabs that spot, they'll last for they're just going to last.
Yeah,
Discord or ICQ or IR, I think it was IRQ. I can never remember what the exact 3 letters were. It's been a while. It'll just evolve to something different, and the tech community will have theirs, and the general community will have theirs.
Sounds great.
ICQ. Thank you. That's what it was. It was ICQ.
ICQ?
Yes. Yeah, ICQ is if you were in the tech world and you were doing programming, whatever else you want to do, you were using ICQ for Messenger. You were not messaging people with all this stuff.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Took me a minute, but now I know what you're talking about. So this has been a great conversation, as we always have, but I think we've been here for almost a little bit over 2 hours. So I think folks are ready to wind down and definitely come back to another exciting Gamers Den next week, unless Jacoby's got something that he wants to say or continue the conversation going with. But otherwise, I'm going to wait for him to pull up our lovely ending commercial and any other things that he wants to share. I know we always give people a chance.
There's no ending commercial. We had a great talk. This is great. We got to make sure that everybody stays in touch.
Yes,
keep in
that's
contact
okay.
with everybody. Bye. Somebody wrote.
Right.
But yes, definitely. We'll go ahead and close the show out because yes, it is. We're sitting here at 2 hours, 17 minutes. I don't want to keep everybody here for too much longer because we all got to eat some food.
Yes,
some of us got to pick up kids. So before we close out the same way every time.
Right.
Just like we do the introductions because I'm horrible at introductions. Zach has already left, so he's already given an introduction or his closing of where to follow him and everything. So Caleb, we'll kick it off with you. Go ahead and start us off. Let everybody know before you go where everybody can find you, how we can keep in contact with you. Take it away.
All right. Well, if you want to find me, if you want to hit me up personally, I'm on all social media at General CVS, also on LinkedIn, Caleb Smith. If you want to find the business, anything regarding that, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, everything is at Contender Carry, and I'll even write that in the chat here for you all. So at Contender Carry, you to find me at. Got a lot of interesting things going on planned for this year, so be sure to check us out and see what we got going on.
Perfect. All right, Jahan, it's on you.
Yep, you can find me on LinkedIn, Jahan Sheriff Critchlow, on Twitter, Instagram, at PAG_Virgo. What else? So bad with my social. I had to be on top of my social. But yeah, mainly just reach me on LinkedIn. I think that's the best place because I'm always there all the time, talking with people, doing business. Especially if you're interested in, consulting, any issues, you want to talk about with the gaming industry, you definitely can reach me on LinkedIn. Twitter's not definitely the place to do that. But if you want to follow me, especially because I do streaming, I haven't streamed in a while, but if you want to kind of follow up, you can reach me on Twitter, Instagram at PAG_Virgo.
All
I
right,
didn't get everybody in terms of their information, but I'll grab two that I do know and everything, which is that if you're interested in reaching one of our past guests that was here, that being Zach, and I'm a longtime friend of his, you can definitely catch him at ZachW49s@gmail.com. And the best way to catch him is either on Instagram or on his Facebook. And the Instagram is Nappyhead Funk Army. And of course, that's the website as well, nappyheadfunkarmy.com. So you can catch him on that, and you can catch Kara on most social media sites under Deepened Roots, because that's something that she does on a regular basis. So you can catch her on her Deepened Roots websites and all of that. She does have an amazing podcast that I've been a guest on, and others have been as well. And of course, you can catch me doing all of this stuff here on the Pod TV network, part of the International Broadcast Media and all of that. And of course, you can also find me on various websites, including Instagram, now Clubhouse, and Facebook, and various other sources as well, under either Lee Entertainment 62 or under Blues Radio. So if you look under either of those, you will usually find me in those spaces. So look forward to connecting with some new people, and definitely look forward to having another engaging conversation next week with one of my right-hand folks that are very much involved in my world, that being Mr. Jacoby, who I've known for some time, and we've definitely worked on some projects in the past, and hopefully we'll be working on some projects in the future as well. And that goes for you, Caleb, and for you, Jahan, because definitely I'm an event planner, so hoping to do some work with the two of you as well. So that's my words, and they'll get over to Jacoby. Oh, and by the way, Jacoby, before you say that, every time that you do the spot that introduces us and sometimes takes us out and everything. I love the guy that gives the little fist salute as he's doing whatever he's doing in the video game, because he was really into it. So every time I see that, it puts a big smile on my face.
All right. So first off, the game, well, for those that were watching and some that may not know that we're watching, the two games that I've been playing while we were talking are Rocket League and this is Valheim. Jahan, I don't know if you played Valheim yet.
I heard about it. I thought when I was looking at it, I thought it was this game, Skyrim.
So it feels like it a little bit, just because you're still having to craft a lot.
There's no traps in it.
So there are.
Oh no, I don't play it. I can't. After playing Fallout and Skyrim and I died to traps, I am no longer playing those games.
So it's a lot of fun. I started out playing it and it was like, oh, this is oh yeah, by the way, Big Foods, we are gonna do another Fortnite tournament in Raleigh soon. But yes, this oh, and UFO FGC, did you run a Rocket League tourney for Wake Forest? Yes, we just finished doing that Rocket League tourney in Wake Forest. We got the Power 8 or the Body Armor Rocket League tournament that has a $1,500 prize pool attached to it. That one comes up in June. But yeah, so when I first started playing Valheim, I thought it was, why am I doing this? It's this is just ridiculous. But then I was like, okay, I'm gonna just try it since I did pay $20 for it. I'm gonna put in a few hours. I'm hooked on this daggone game.
Yeah,
it's, venturing everywhere. The map.
I mean, they're fun. Don't get me wrong. Like I was super hooked on Fallout 3 and Skyrim, and then I just kept dying to traps, like random traps, and I was just like, you know what, I can't do this. Like imagine like really going extremely hard, don't save, and then like a random booby trap just kills you because you feel like you're like strong enough to take a booby trap.
So there aren't really, I mean, there are some, the booby traps you can see those really aren't that bad.
Oh no, Skyrim, they're funny.
Oh yeah,
they're
the
funny
problem
traps,
that you run into with this is that you like, if you die and you spawn, like if I were to die here, my spawn location is way back on the other side of the map. Everything that I have, if I die here, stays here. It doesn't go with me. So then I have to rebuild everything
to go back and get it.
Yes.
Which is great.
And that's the most frustrating thing.
Everything else, nope. Nope. Skyrim just says, oh, random contraption with spikes just kill you. I'm just like, I got all this armor. I'm like level this. I don't know how I'm dying. This is so weird. I just hate it.
So, like I said, I would say play. Yeah, you might want to play this one.
Once I'm telling you, if I die to a trap, because I'd rather die to like a monster. Like I should have known better. Right? Like I'm willing to accept that. Right? If it's like one of those like it says super being, right? Like, and you're like, okay, you're not supposed to mess with a super being, but you mess with it, and you die. You're like, yeah, I knew better. But just randomly going to a cave and just dying to a trap, that is the most annoying thing to me.
Yeah. But yes, we were supposed to be closing the show. But yeah, I've been playing. I was playing Rocket League and I was playing Valheim. Oh, and next week, Caleb, next time you join, we're playing Rocket League together.
Oh, we need to play Knockout City.
Knockout City. Oh, I heard. That's the dodgeball game.
New hotness. Knockout City. We have to play that.
That's the dodgeball game, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Is it free or is it?
I am so for that.
Is it free or is it $20?
I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. Like I didn't really do too much research on it because I've been dealing with stuff with the event space where I'm at. But I know that it's super legit. So whatever, I'm willing to buy it. I think it's like $29.99 if I'm not mistaken.
$29.
Hey, okay. Y'all said dodgeball. I can actually even jump in on that. You know, I'm not the most video game savvy person, but I think I can.
I don't know. Trust me, it's super fun. Like it's the reason why it's because it's so easy to play, and you just once you learn the mechanics, it's just like the world is your oyster. It's amazing.
All right, Mark. That means you're playing Knockout City because it is dodgeball.
Knockout City.
I used to play dodgeball way back in the Ice Ages, so I can do that one.
All right. So yeah, we'll do that next time. Well, is it fully out yet?
Let's try it for free May 21st.
All right. Somebody said free but limited modes. So okay. All right. I'm gonna have to.
So not officially out.
I'm gonna still pick it up. Because isn't it on Steam or is it
Steam? I think it says Steam. There's a lot of crossplay. So Switch, Steam, Xbox, PlayStation.
All right, I'm gonna pick it up.
What this one is.
All right, I'm gonna pick it up.
I don't know what the symbol is.
Because I mean, I've been seeing the ads seeing the ads on different things for it, and I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, my friend, he interviewed the person who created the game.
Really?
Yeah, he interviewed.
See if your friend can hook us up with the interview, and we'll play Knockout City next week.
See, we can't do that. I would love that. Speaking of things, and since we're still just bantering and everything, I meant to tell you, Jatovi, that the fundraiser for our lovely theater was a tremendous success yesterday, and they actually raised over $100,000 in items and things of that nature. So the Carolina Theater had this lovely fundraiser that I helped create some of the music for that. So I provided some of the musicians, including Jazz McKelly and Reese Palmer and Nina Freelon. So they did pretty well.
That's all right, Mark. Doing big things.
I do. It was not, I was not the lead person in it, but I did my part with the entertainment. But a big shout out to Ashley and Katie Rich, who is actually a Vanity Fair editor that now lives here in North Carolina and is a fellow board member, and Roy Gillis from Durham Magazine and several others that were involved in it as well. So shout out to the whole team, including somebody that I think you know quite well. And I was actually impressed with him because I had never really seen Ben Farrell, the auctioneer, do his thing, but he is a truly gifted auctioneer.
Oh, okay. I may know him. I don't know.
He's done a lot of events here in the area. I'm pretty sure that you've seen him around and everything. So if you haven't, and we need to do a fundraising auction type event for anything that Bull City Gaming is doing, he's definitely a man that knows how to keep an auction going in that old-fashioned style.
Okay, yeah. Oh, man, that portal's not connected. Now I gotta go all the way over to the other side. See, this is the tough part. It's the grind on this game.
Toby will be playing this game all the way till
12 o'clock
tonight.
Gotta grind that life.
Come on, Caleb, jump in the game. It's addictive.
That's why I don't jump on a lot of games.
You know you won't do it. Come on, Caleb.
What does it cost? $20?
Yeah.
That's how much it costs.
A good game, and honestly, it would be great if Contender did have its own Valheim, because you can create your own server. Oh. And if you have, I'm sure you have like a spare computer in the back or something like that. And you probably figure a way to create your own Valheim server for Contender. That'd be kind of cool. I don't have the spare PCs, but
gotcha. Because we have one for Minecraft.
Yeah, this is, as someone described Valheim, it's the adult version of Minecraft.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
Because all you're doing is building, you're harvesting and building. That's all you're doing.
Hey, Jatovi, I just happened to see this news story that came across my screen and everything. Apparently, our sheriff has been sued. Is it our sheriff? It says Durham Sheriff. Let me make sure it's not Durham, England. But some sheriffs has been sued for requiring the deputies to be vaccinated.
Oh, I don't know. That's ridiculous. They should be vaccinated. So I'd be against that lawsuit.
Yeah, I was like, when I saw it come across, I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah. But okay. Yeah, it looks like since we started bantering even more, Caleb just stepped out. So we should go ahead and close the show. Thank you guys. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for joining, asking the questions. This, as I stated, as we talked about, clicks and everything else. This is about a community. This is about, you guys are the viewer is as much as a part of the show as the people on the show. So ask as many questions, provide any information you want to. You guys are a part of it. But we'll see you guys next week, next Thursday, 12 o'clock, because we do Gamers Den every Thursday at 12 o'clock. You can follow, I've got the scroll happening on YouTube, BCG Esports, on Facebook, Bull City GG, on Twitch, Bull City GG as well. Follow Mark, follow Jahan, follow Caleb, follow Zach, follow Kara. And I guess we out as I'm on the ocean.
Yeah, we're out as you're on the ocean, and I was right. It was Durham, North Carolina, where that happened. So definitely it happened early, a couple of hours ago. That apparently a former one sued because he claimed that he was fired because he did not want to comply with the sheriff's mandate.
Okay, he can stay fired. I don't want him coming to check me out and get me sick. But we'll see you guys later.
Later.
All right.
All right.